Hey, welcome into the 2024 Bracket Breakdown Show. It's brought to you by Southwest Style Incorporated. I'm Sebastian Noel. That's Michael Montano. That's the head coach of the Cibola Cougars. He got that dreadful call this year to join us. Hopefully, Gabe, we never have to call you again.
No, yeah. Listen, I would much rather prefer to be getting ready for it, but it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Excited. Thanks for having me.
First things first, congratulations to your son's all-district accomplishments, both on the all-district team and the all-academic team. He sure is fun to watch.
Appreciate that.
I know you guys are building it up over there, and it's coming, right? That's a tough district to rebuild a program in, isn't it?
Brick by brick, step by step, but yeah, little by little.
All right, we'll get to brackets in just a moment. Let's look at the seeding and selection criteria. It hasn't changed, but we do always like to go over it because you know there's no secrets. Finish in regular season district play, head-to-head, wins against district champions regardless of classification, overall record, max preps, Freeman ranking, member school input, which is essentially the final coaches poll of the year that's submitted to the NMAA. And I want to talk about two of those. One of them is that last one, that member school input. You know, that one's weird because I'll just ask you, what do you do? Do you put in a classic quote-unquote coaches poll, or do you try to guess the criteria? Because the more coaches I talk to, it's split. Some coaches try to go by this criteria while other coaches put in a real coaches poll, what they think, like the coaches poll we see all year on NMOTSC. What do you do?
For me, it's a mixture of both. I mean, we sit down, we talk with other coaches, we look at all the criteria, and then we just kind of gauge it, maybe like you said, how we kind of feel. I think that's why they have the coaches' input. It gives us an opportunity to go in there and kind of see how we see things. Maybe it lines up with the criteria or how things are on max preps. But for me, it's a mixture of both.
And there's real no guidance, Michael, on that coaches, that last input form there. There's no guidance on the website. It's just blank spots for 1 through 16. Yeah. So some coaches do the traditional coaches poll. Some coaches try to go by the NMAA criteria. So that's it's kind of a crapshoot what you get.
It really is, because you see these teams like where they're ranked all year on max preps, and then you see what the number one seeds are and how they do this input, and then you find out like, well, how come we're now number one based on where we've been ranked all year? So teams aren't going to get the seed what they think they'll get.
Speaking of how come we're not number one, we do want to talk about a 1A, 1 seed that was already released, Magdalena. We'll get to that in just a moment. That other criteria point, of course, that always kind of gets people talking is the district wins, right? District champion wins, because it doesn't have to be in your classification. So I know that's always a hot button issue with you guys in the coaching community, right?
It is. No, I think that's always been a question that coaches have, as far as, is there going to be any regulations or there's going to be any changes to how that works? But I mean, it is what it is. Like,
should a 5A team be rewarded for a district champ win against, say, a silver, right? That's been an argument in the past. Also, one more thing I wanted to clarify as we looked at that criteria, and it did come into play this year in the West Mesa-La Cueva tie. When that tie does occur, the tiebreaker game that happened on Monday, it determines the seeding for the district tournament. So West Mesa went in as the host for the championship on Saturday. What it also does, though, and I did get some clarification on this, what it also does, and this part gets real gray, it also determines who the district champ is, but only for the criteria point of wins against the district champ. And I know that sounds confusing. What do I mean by that? Well, it means La Cueva can go ahead of West Mesa into the bracket. They will, of course, because of their win, but they could have anyway, even if they lost. But the district champion is considered West Mesa. Only teams that beat West Mesa get credit for a district champ win. So that's kind of a weird little thing. And in a way, that really hurt West Mesa, because La Cueva suddenly gets credit for their 2, now 3 wins against West Mesa. West Mesa, in turn, did not get credit for their wins against La Cueva. They would have had to beat La Cueva again on Saturday just to make it count, if you will, and that head-to-head criteria would have canceled out the other criteria. But, of course, that didn't happen on Saturday. We don't have to worry about that. But that's just, I wanted to clarify that because I know there's a lot of discussion about that. Does that make sense? It didn't make a lot of sense while I was saying it.
It sounds confusing at first, but then you process it does make sense, because you have to have these wins against district champions regardless of what happens.
Were you following all that, Coach?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've kind of had to deal with it in the past and understand it. So basically, if you outright win your district without a tie, no one else in your district can be seated above you. If there's a tie break and it leads into the next week, and then you have that game, as you just said, it only counts for wins against district champs. But then if you're ever in a tiebreaker game, whoever wins that game, it doesn't guarantee that someone in your district can't be seated above you.
Right, you're absolutely right
Did
about
I break that down correct?
Yeah, that makes
There you
sense. Did want to mention the one seed you were a little surprised about, Michael, and that was Magdalena, right?
I was surprised because all year on Max Preps they were ranked 4th, 5th. They were not near that one, and to see them number 1, it did surprise me because I was not expecting that at all.
Season watch parties, you can tweet them to us at ProView TV. I see the Santa Fe High Demons. They're at a restaurant somewhere watching. So tweet at us if you're watching. I see Las Lunas. Hey, I recognize that building. They're at B-Dubs in Las Lunas. I've spent many a nights there after a Las Lunas basketball game. Let's see, who else is watching? The Rams, the Rio Rancho Rams girls are watching as well. Keep sending those in at ProView TV. Do we have a bracket? We do. Let's go to it then. 1A girls is first on the board. We look at the top there, no surprise with Roy Mosquero. They are the number 1 seed. They'll get Animas to 16. Congratulations to Roy and Coach Blair Clavel, the district champs out of District 5, a fantastic 23-1 season. Quemado, they're in the next matchup there. You can see them. They'll face Coronado Vaughn. That's the vaunted 8-9 matchup. Everyone going to keep their eye, of course, on Corona. We'll talk about why in just a moment, but that should be a fantastic 8-9 matchup there. The 5-12 features Magdalena on the girls' side. Congratulations to the Lady Steers and Coach Sarah Sue Olney. They're the runner-up out of District 2. They're the 5 seed. They'll get to Hadley. That's the 12. Congratulations to Coach Apachito, the district champions out of District 1. They get a tough one in the opening round against Magdalena. At the bottom of that bracket, Fort Sumner House is the 4. Congratulations to Fort Sumner House and head coach Ben Segura. That's the 4 seed. So let's throw the bracket back up there for a second. There we go. Apologize for that. Pine Hill is their opponent at 13. Congratulations to the Warriors and Coach Chavez. If we move along there to the bottom half of the bracket, the number 3 seed belongs to Logan. Congratulations to Dustin Robertson and the district champs. Out of District 6, they'll get Alamo Navajo at 14. Congratulations to Alamo Navajo. 19th in the Max Preps. They make it in at 14 in this bracket. We'll get Michael's thoughts on that in just a moment. Jemez Valley, they're the 6th seed. Congratulations to the Warriors and Coach Rebecca Sando. They're the district champs out of District 7. They get the Red Devils of Springer. Congratulations to Springer and the Red Devils. Maybe the Red Devils can make a run. Who knows? But they're right there at that number 11 seed. The 7-10 is Melrose. The Lady Buffaloes are the 7 seed. They were the 5 in Max Preps. Congratulations to Coach Kevin Lackey and the Buffaloes. They finished 3rd in a very tough District 6. They'll face Dora. Dora's the 10. Congratulations to the Coyotes and Coach Ferguson. They're the district champs out of District 4. They'll have their hands full in that one for sure. And at the bottom, Cliff is the number 2 seed. Congratulations to Coach Chelsea Schock, the district champions out of District 2. They get the 15 seed reserve. All right, there's your 1A girls bracket. Michael, any surprises, first of all?
Not that I see, but you look at 1 through 8, it's a battle on who's going to win against who because those top 8 teams are stacked, they're loaded. I wouldn't even count out Corona Vaughn at 9. That's a matchup you should really keep your eye on, the 8-9 matchup.
And of course, Corona Vaughn, and let me see, 1A girls gets to the pit not till, I guess, the championship, right?
The championship, correct.
So if you want to see the Corona Star, you're going to have to hit the road. And 1A girls starts in Bernalillo on Wednesday, right?
That's correct.
So a lot of people want to go out and see Harper Dunn, right, I believe?
Oh, yes.
And so you'll have to hit the road in Bernalillo. We're going to get to some other thoughts on this, potential sleepers, landmines in this. 2-hour program tonight, so Michael will be back later to break down some more of this bracket. But really, that's it. No surprises there?
I mean, maybe the Melrose. I think Melrose should have been a 5-6, but the 7, they do come out of the tough district with Fort Sumner House, Logan. So that one's just pretty tough no matter what.
Let's keep rolling then on the girls' side and bring in the 2A girls bracket. They're next. The number 1 seed, no surprise at the top there. It's the Trojans of Mesa Vista, the district champs out of District 5. They get Capitan at 16. The 8-9 features the Hawks of Laguna Acoma. Congratulations to Laguna Acoma there and Coach Lacey. They are the runner-up out of District 1. They'll get Cuesta at 9. The Wildcats and head coach Steve Royale, they were the 3rd place finisher out of District 5. The Manal Panthers are the 5 seed. Congratulations to Coach Felicia Boatman. I believe Felicia has the highest winning percentage in the household this year, but that's another story for another day. Congratulations, Coach Boatman. She'll have the 5 against the 12 seed Estancia. That should be an interesting matchup against the Bears and Coach Lawrence Tapia. I know both Manal boys and girls, they're watching. They're actually, Coach Boatman texted me, they're playing pickleball somewhere in Corrales watching us. So they're watching. The 4-13 is Tularosa at 4. Congratulations to the Wildcats and Coach Coleman, the district champs out of District 3. They're right there. They'll get a tough one in the Eunice Cardinals, the 13. They're also 13 in Max Preps. They were the runner-up in District 4. Coach Frazier will have that group ready to go. Bottom of the bracket, number 3 seed, it's Pecos. The Lady Panthers are the 3. Congratulations. They were also 3 in Max Preps. Coach Ragland, the district champs out of District 6. They'll get Lordsburg at 14. The Mavericks, they were the runner-up in District 3. The 6-11 features Penasco. Congratulations to the Panthers. They'll get the Yellow Jackets in the opening round. That could be a tough one. Coach Mann, the runners-up out of District 6. Penasco, of course, they had a really, really nice season. They were the second-place team out of District 5, a nice 8-2 record in District, and a good Max Preps ranking there. Dulce, the Lady Hawks are the 7 seed. They'll get Texaco at 10. They'll have their hands full with that. Texaco, a perennial power, the 10 seed. 10 in Max Preps as well. The Wolverines finished 3rd in a really tough District 6. Dulce, the Lady Hawks, district champions out of District 1. And finally, Tatum, it's the Coyotes. They get Escalante at 15. Congratulations to Tatum. A very, very nice season for them. They were the 2 seed in Max Preps as well. They're the district champs out of District 4. Coach Slower always has a good program going there. Any surprises?
None at all. Like, this is a very accurate ranking and seeding. You love to see the Mesa Vista play phenomenal. Pecos riding a 15-game winning streak. Tularosa, another team to watch. But I do want to say watch out for Texaco at the 10 seed. They are a sneaky team, and they will compete no matter what to the end.
Pecos, the girls are going to have to carry the flag for the little village this year, huh?
I mean, the boys can make a run, but the Pecos girls are playing some A game this year.
So we'll see. All right, one more. Let's go right to 3A. We're going to get them out quickly. Remember, 2 hours with us today, so we'll get plenty of analysis. But first, let's just get all these brackets out. The 3A girls bracket, no surprise at the top. Congratulations, Coach Bitsoy and Tahachi. That's the number 1 team. Boy, if they get to the championship, the pit will be rocking. They were the runners-up in District 1. Coach Bitsoy, 11-1 in District, 22-6 overall. Congratulations to the Cougars. They get Crown Point in the 116. The 8-9 features Zuni at number 8. They'll get the home game there against Sandia Prep. The Sun Devils will have to hit the road. Coach Tackman's team, the district champs out of District 5. It was not enough to get them a home game, though, so they will have to hit the road. Tucumcari, their Lady Rattlers, they're there at 5. They'll get the home game against Ruidoso, the district champions out of District 4. They were a 5 in Max Preps. That's the number in front of their name in this bracket as well. Ruidoso, the 12. They were the 13 in Max Preps. They finished 2nd in District 4. Congratulations to Coach Page. Santa Fe Indian, that's the number 14. The Lady Braves, they'll get the Skyhawks of Newcomb in the opening round in that 4-13 matchup. That's another team that packs the pit if they can get there. Congratulations to head coach Khadijah Jackson and the Lady Braves on a nice season. Powerhouse at the bottom is the 3 seed Navajo Prep. Rainy Crisp's team always in the mix when it comes to 3A girls. They'll get the 14 Socorro in the opening round. That should be a tough, tough game for Socorro. As Navajo Prep, they got all the pedigree in that matchup. Lady Dons of West Las Vegas, the Fighting Richard Trips. They're the 6th seed in this bracket. They were the 7 in Max Preps. Coach Uliberry has his Lady Dons right there set to host an opening round matchup against the Roo, the 11 seed, the Hawks. They were the 4th place team out of District 1. Moving along to the bottom, 7 team is St. Mike's. The Lady Horsemen are the home team against Cuba. Congratulations to St. Michael's and Sonia Ruiz. They were the 4th place finisher out of a very tough District 2. They'll get the home game against Cuba. Finally, the 2-15, head coach Magic Medina Robertson Cardinals are the 2 at the bottom of the bracket, and they'll get Wingate in the 2-15. Robertson, always a perennial favorites, the district champs out of District 2. Clean record in District, 19-7 on the season. They played a pretty tough schedule. Any surprises in the 3A girls bracket?
I'm surprised Navajo Prep's not the 2. I thought Robertson would be the 3, but Navajo Prep, iffy losses, but they were out-of-state schools. But you see Robertson comes from a tough district, as you see Santa Fe Indian, West, St. Mike's, all right there. So it makes sense in a way.
Yeah, Navajo Prep did have the number 2 max preps. I thought that would be enough to move them up as well. They played a really tough schedule. They tested themselves early and often. I thought that would be enough to get a 2 seed. But they are on the opposite side of Tehachapi. How full would the pit be for a Tehachapi Navajo Prep Championship?
Oh, that's a sellout.
Let's see when that would be. Thursday or Saturday, 3A girls. That would be... No, I beg your pardon. That would be Friday at 3 o'clock. Yeah, we'd have a packed pit on Friday for sure, right?
Very packed pit.
All right, if you're watching at home, keep sending us those watch parties. We promise we'll get to them. That was a lot. We'll take our first break and come back with more right after this.
Picture yourself in a jacuzzi hot tub, or your spouse, or kids. Water is good for the soul, and a jacuzzi in winter? Wow. Come in today to the Jacuzzi showroom and pick your escape. Jacuzzi. Why not?
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burkia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Picture yourself in a jacuzzi hot tub, or your spouse, or kids. Water is good for the soul, and a jacuzzi in winter? Wow. Come in today to the Jacuzzi showroom and pick your escape. Jacuzzi. Why not?
State bracket breakdown show here. I'm Sebastian Doyle in the ProView Network studios. Gabe and Michael will be back in just a moment. We're excited to get Coach's thoughts on that 5A boys bracket. But first, brought in Ed and Nick Nunez. We're going to keep racing through these brackets. Guys, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. Let's keep it on the girls' side. Ladies first tonight. 4A girls, number 1 seed. No surprise. Congratulations to head coach Devin Manning and the Lady Broncos, the district champions out of District 1. They'll get the 16 Aztec. The 8-9 features Valencia. Congratulations to Ray Montoya. Congratulations to the Jags. They were the runners-up out of District 5. They'll get the home game against Lovington. Saves you 5.5 hours of driving as the Wildcats, the third-place finisher out of District 4, will come towards the Duke City for their opening round matchup. The 5 seed is Portales and Wade Fraze's Lady Rams, the runner-up out of District 4. Hope Christian is their opponent. That's the 12 seed there. Moving along, the 4 seed is Gallup. Congratulations to the Lady Bengals, the runner-up out of District 1, and head coach Todd McBroom's Bengals will get the 13 seed Powahki Valley, the Elkettes, under the legendary guidance of Cindy Roybal. Coach Roybal will make the trip to Gallup. Nothing's going to intimidate her, not even a full building of loud, raucous fans in Gallup. That might be an interesting opening round matchup. Bottom of the bracket, the 3 seed, it's Artesia. Always a good day to be a Bulldog, as Coach Mondragon would say. The Bulldogs are the number 3 seed. Congratulations to Jeff Hoddeling and the district champions out of District 4. They'll get silver. The Colts are the 14 seed there in that opening round matchup. The 6-11 features Albuquerque Academy. What a congratulations to Coach Batches, where that program came from only several years ago to where they are now. Regular season district champs, tournament district champs. Congratulations to the Chargers at 6. They'll get the 11 seed Deming. That'll be an interesting matchup in the opening round there. The 7-10 features Bloomfield, the Lady Bobcats. Congratulations to Bloomfield and Coach Brady Rivers. They were the 4th place finisher out of a tough District 1, and they'll get the Hilltoppers of Los Alamos in the opening round. That's the 10 seed there, Los Alamos. Coach Zollinger, the district champions out of District 2. And at the bottom of the bracket there, it's St. Pius. They are the number 2 seed. Congratulations to Coach Rohde, 2 seed. They were also the 2 in Max Preps. They were the district champions out of District 5, 8-0 in District 23 and 3 on the regular season. They'll make a trip to Coach Martinez's old stomping grounds. The Espanola Valley Sun Devils are their opponents in the opening round. Coach Romero, nice season, 3rd place finish out of District 2. They were the 13 in Max Preps. They get the 15 seed. Nick, your quick thoughts there? Any surprises?
A little surprised by the 2, 3, 4 seed. Gallup's traditionally always a top 2 seed, but Artesia's had a fantastic season. St. Pius certainly deserving of the 2. That's really the only surprise. Like you said, Sebastian, District 1, so competitive, 4 teams in.
Ed, you and I have had plenty of mornings at Albuquerque Academy during that Academy tournament where the girls always played first because they were on such tough times. What a job the Chargers have done to get to the top of that district.
Well, think about it. Coach Batches was the athletic director there for several years and stepped back. And you mentioned the program was kind of struggling a few years ago. And look where she's at now, a 6th seed against Deming. You mentioned Coach Roybal, who texted me last week. I had her on the sports desk this summer. She was inducted into the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame. And she was quick to tell me, hey, we made state and we're in the tournament. I think that's an intriguing matchup. But Sebastian, you're right. Coach Roybal, not intimidated by any. In talking to Coach Roybal just for the time that I did, had her on the show, and then we text back and forth, she's not intimidated. In fact, she probably welcomes that challenge. And Coach Rohde, Nick has covered plenty of her games, and she's done a great job this season, so well deserving of their seat. So Kirtland Central, again, the number 1 seed. I don't think there's any surprise there.
Let's take a look at the 5A girls bracket. I believe we have that one ready to roll as well. Big School's going to take the center stage here. No surprise at the top. Coach Carpenter and the Hobbs Lady Eagles, they were the number 1 seed. They're the district champs out of District 4. Congratulations to Coach Carpenter, who picked up his 500th win of the season, 6-0 in district, 24-3 in the regular season. We'll get that bracket up in just a moment, but the Hobbs Lady Eagles are the number 1 seed there. So we don't have the bracket up yet. Let's talk about Hobbs a little bit while we get it. Oh, there we go. I apologize. Las Cruces is the 16 seed. Oh, man, I always love to pick Coach Selby for an upset special. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this year. They get the number 1 seed Hobbs. That's a tough one for the Bulldogs. The 8-9, La Cueva, despite their struggles down the stretch, they get a home game in the opening round. But, boy, will it be a tough one against Lori Mabry and the Rio Rancho Rams. Going to be a lot of eyes on that one. La Cueva, I think if they get hot at the right time, they could hurt somebody, but it's a tough opening round matchup. The 5-12, George Maya, the legend, gets the 5 seed there. That's a team, we saw them early at Academy. They just kept getting better and better and better. Congratulations to Coach Maya, the district champ out of District 3. The 12 seed is the Clovis Wildcats. Coach Jeff Reed, 3rd place finisher out of District 4. That's a tough one for them in the opening round. The 4 seed is the Volcano Vista Hawks. Coach Lisa Villarreal's Hawks get the 4, and they'll have a district rival on the other side in Susan Cabala's Cleveland Storm. Volcano Vista, 14 wins in a row heading into the state tournament. No one's hotter than the Hawks, the district champions out of District 1. 3 seed, it's Farmington, the Scorpions, Lady Scorpions. They came into town, sold out Sandia for that district tournament championship game last night. They'll get the 14 seed Los Lunas in the opening round. That'll be a good atmosphere there in Farmington. Coach Adair will have the team ready for that. The 6-11, it's Oregon Mountain. Congratulations to the Knights. Evelyn Reyes, the runner-up in District 3. They'll get Carlsbad, always a tough one. Coach Matt Enlow's Cave Girls, they were the 2nd place finisher in District 4. The 7 seed Bella Buckets, El Dorado Eagles, they get the 7. They'll get the home game against Crosstown's Albuquerque High Bulldogs. Coach Morrison, what a fantastic hire that was at Albuquerque High. The runner-up out of District 5. They did win the district tournament, so they're the champs for the tournament. But they're going to have to try to come up with something to stop Bella Hines in that 7-10. The 2 seed, it's the Matadors. Congratulations to Coach Kettig. I know they are watching at Sandia, as are the boys and Coach Brown. The Matadors are the 2. They'll get Alamogordo. The Lady Tigers are the 15 seed. Any surprises for you there? Let's start with you, Nick.
Yeah, tough for Albuquerque High, right, Sebastian? They win the district. They go 24-5 on the season. They still don't get a home game. That's the second year in a row the Bulldogs have not gotten to host a home game. Not bad, though. They only have to go across town to face Bella Hines. They already played once this season. It was a 48-34 win for El Dorado, so Bulldogs have to make some magic happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually, I mean, this always seems to happen to Albuquerque High. It speaks to the strength of that other district, right? You see that La Cueva's in there. You see, obviously, Sandia. You see El Dorado. You see the strength of that district, Farmington, and it really, really cost Albuquerque High. Not only do you not get a home game, but you got to face Bella Hines. That stuff. And is there a matchup there in the opening round that intrigues you or sticks out?
You know, I like, you know what, 8-9, La Cueva, Rio Rancho, I like that. Lori Mabry, she's got that 8th grader, Madeline Martinez, I believe, a 40-point game earlier this year. It's great to see Coach Mabry out there, back there at Rio Rancho, building that program. They did lose to Volcano Vista 3 times, but I really like that matchup. That's intriguing to me, and Marissa Cogan does a great job at La Cueva. Quick comment about Hobbs. I talked to Coach Carpenter this morning. We had a quick conversation, and he wanted me to say this. You know, they were up 39-0 at the half. But he did say, look, they're trying to win a game, but they're not trying to embarrass anybody. Coach Carpenter's not like that at all. Called off his press in the second half, but, you know, he's trying to win a championship here and get his girls ready. But, you know, that's a message, and I think he's built quite a culture there. I admire him very much as a coach, but as a person even more. So that's just a little quick comment there. You know, a great conversation I had with him this morning. Farmington against Los Lunas. Los Lunas coming up short in the district championship against Albuquerque High in overtime. And we like Coach Adair a lot. I think he's a great coach. That's a matchup I think the Scorpions should come out on top of.
Yeah, Coach, just to pick up on what you're saying, Coach Carpenter picked up his 500th win this season. Class act, great guy. They interviewed him after what he thought about 500, and he just, in typical Joe Carpenter form, said, you know, it's just so great to play here at Tasker. He said maybe after 500 wins, they'll name a urinal after me.
You know what, Sebastian? I really like that guy. I know you know him too, and you know Nick. He's a great guy and a great coach. He's a better person. You know, it's the best way to describe him, and it's great that, you know, it's like Coach Martinez we have on the show, and a great family guy, and you know, believes in his faith, and so those are the people that you really gravitate to and you want to learn more about outside just basketball. Great guy.
All right, we're going to stay on this bracket here, and we'll keep both of our Nunez boys at the table here, and we'll break into this in depth here since we've released all the girls here. Let's go a little deeper. First of all, is Hobbs as heavy of a favorite as I think they are? I think they are, or is Sandia up to that challenge?
They played earlier in the Metro tournament, and so, you know, I think Hobbs defeated Sandia. I think, I saw Hobbs against Cleveland earlier this season. They're so deep. They move the ball really well. They bring a lot of players back from their state championship team last year. Brett Clay, the post inside Cunningham. They play a style of basketball where they just run girls in and out. So I think they're the favorite, but this is one of the deepest classes in all of the brackets that we have, Sebastian. You go 1 through 5, I think anybody could win.
Okay, Ed, do you agree? Deepest or most top heavy?
Mixed bag. I say it's a mixed bag. But, I think going back, you asked about Hobbs. It's a culture. They remember, they won without Wisdom Anthony last year. They beat Volcano Vista, and Joe Carpenter and Lisa Villarreal have had some great matchups in the state tournament. And, I got to look at Lisa Villarreal, starting out with the loss against Sandia. And everybody, even I thought, man, is their time over? And it's not. Maybe not dynamic as it used to be at guard, when they had Kennedy Brown and Bates and Chavez. That's a special group. But they've still got T.T. Hill, Liliana Duncan, Faith Ortiz, and they've got Lisa Villarreal, who's won 5 championships. I think, that speaks for itself. But, it's hard to bet against Hobbs if you're a betting man. It really is. Coach Carpenter, he's got that winning culture. They're expected to win when they take the court. They've got the bullseye on their back. You mentioned Sandia and Lee Kettig. And, you've got Benali, Audie Wright, Hope Giddings. That is a good team. And they've been together for a long time. They really have. You know what, though, Sebastian and Nick? You've coached, and it comes down to adjustments at the end, a bounce here, a call there. I'll still say I think Hobbs, Sandia can absolutely do it with the talent they have. Do they believe they can is the question. When it comes down to the game against Hobbs, those girls, you're in the pit, pit magic. Do you believe you can do it? I think they can. I definitely think they can. But I wouldn't count out Lisa Villarreal either. But I do say that Hobbs is my favorite in that class.
We'll get to picks. We'll get to predictions in the second hour. Want to congratulate also not only on the 500th win, but Mojica became the all-time leading three-point shooter there, and so a lot of special accomplishments down south at Hobbs. All right, we'll take another commercial break here. Southwest Style Inc. Bracket Breakdown Show. We'll go to some boys brackets when we return.
Picture yourself in a jacuzzi hot tub, or your spouse, or kids. Water is good for the soul, and a jacuzzi in winter? Wow. Come in today to the Jacuzzi Showroom and pick your escape. Jacuzzi. Why not?
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
The bracket breakdown show is brought to you by Southwest Style Inc. Michael is back. That means we have some more brackets for you. Let's get right into it. I think we're going to go to the boys' side now and start with Class A. That's the one you said surprised you at the number 1 seed, so we'll get into that in just a moment. I don't know if you can ever be surprised when Jory Mirabal's Magdalena Steers get a 1 seed, though. They're the district champs out of District 2. I believe that's 10 district championships in a row, something crazy like that. They were the 5 in Max Preps, like you said, to 10-0 in district, 27-1 on the regular season. They'll 16. It's against Maxwell, the Bears. Tough opening round matchup for them. The 8-9 will feature Cliff. Congratulations to the Cowboys and Coach Brian Schock. The runner-up out of District 2, they'll get Evangel Christian Oak Grove. That's an interesting matchup there. They were the second-place finisher out of District 7. Congratulations to Coach Ed Cater and the Eagles. The 5 seed, it's Logan. The Longhorns, they'll get to 12. Roy Mosquero, the Blue, in the 5-12. That's an interesting matchup right there. Logan, Coach Griffins, the third-place finisher out of a really tough district, District 6. Melrose, Drew Hatley is watching. I know it. The Buffaloes, Coach Hatley, they're the 4 seed against Mesilla Valley, the 13. Congratulations, Coach Hatley, on the runner-up finish in District 6. 4-2 in District, 23-4, coming off that state football championship. Coach Hatley wants to raise even more hardware. Mesilla Valley would present a pretty tough test in that opening round, though. Coach Coyle and the Sun Blazers always up to the task in this time of the year. The 3 seed, it's Des Moines against the 14 seed Elida. Congratulations to the Demons. You want to know how old I am, Michael? The head coach of the Des Moines Demons, Ben Doherty, he was playing in a state championship first round game at Del Norte my first year PA announcing. He dropped like 50 in a triple overtime game against Magdalena. He's the head coach now at Des Moines, so I'll be pulling for them a little bit. They get Elida in the opening round. Cimarron, the Rams, they're the 6th seed. They'll get Pine Hill at the 6-11 matchup there. The 7 seed, it's Legacy Academy. And head coach, where are you now? Brian Joyce is the head man at Legacy Academy. The Silverbacks get the home game against Alamo Navajo. Don't count them out. That's a hell of a coach right there at Legacy Academy. The 15 seed, it's Dora against the 2 seed Fort Sumner House. Congratulations to Fort Sumner House. Brad Holland, he's the man used to lifting a trophy at the end of the year, the district champs out of District 6, 2 seed. All right, break down all the surprises there, because you said there was a few.
There is a few. I'm surprised Des Moines is the 3. Thought they would be the 4, but, they don't come out of a tough district. It's just them and Cimarron. The toughest district, though, is Melrose, Logan, Fort Sumner House. So I thought those would be on top of each other, but Melrose, Logan in the second round, that's going to be a tough matchup against each other.
Yeah, Coach Hatley texted me this morning, said he might want to call a game with us on the NFHS network. I have a feeling he might be playing a while in this tournament, though.
He is going to be playing for a while in this tournament.
So we'll see. All right, this Legacy Academy, all that coaching, obviously, you still got to do it on the court. Do they have a chance there at the 7?
I think they do, but they're going to have a tough matchup against the Fort Sumner House.
All right. Is there a matchup in that opening round that if you could buy a ticket to just one, which would you go see?
I would like to see the 6-11.
That's Cimarron against Pine Hill. What intrigues you about that matchup?
I mean, Cimarron's a good team, but Pine Hill, they can catch you off guard.
You're telling me you're going to bet against Eloy Brazil?
I did last year, and I got it right.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, Coach Brazil, turn the TV up real loud so you can hear that was him, not me. All right? So we'll see what Coach Brazil's finally home at Cimarron, right?
Yeah, he's finally home.
That long, windy road brings him to the 6th seed. All right, let's flip ahead to the 2A bracket here. I've been waiting to see this one for a while. It's the Phoenix. Congratulations to ATC, the district champions out of District 2. Coach Bobby Romero, they came so close last year. In my opinion, best player in the classification, Juju Bernardino's on that roster, and they can go a long way with Juju. The 16 seed, it's Clayton. The Yellow Jackets still have their hands full. Opening round 8-9 matchup. The home game goes to Santa Rosa. Congratulations to the Lions and Coach Escabel, the runners-up out of District 6. Get the home game against the Escalante Lobos and Coach Royston. They tied for first in District 5. The 5-12 features the Lynx of Rehoboth Christian against Mora. That's a tough trip for Mora to make there to Rehoboth Christian. That's a good team under Coach Swires, the district champs out of District 1. Mesa Vista's the 4. They'll get the home game against Jal. Congratulations to Mesa Vista and Coach Vigil. They had a real nice season, 22-5, 9-1 in district. Tularosa's the 3. They get McCurdy the 14. Congratulations to Coach Castellan and the Wildcats, the district champions out of District 3. The Wolverines of Texaco, they'll get the home game, a 5-hour drive for Gary Boatman and the number 11 seed Manal. It's a tough drive and a tough opponent in the opening round for Manal. The Wolverines have had a nice season there. They're always tough on the playoffs and their home floor. It's a long drive for someone to make. The district champs out of District 6 get the home game. It's the 7, unfamiliar number in front of the Pecos Panthers. The Panthers do get the home game at 7. They were the 3rd place finishers out of District 6. Coach Gonzalez will have his boys ready against Loving, the number 10 seeded Falcons, the 3rd place finisher out of District 4. Bottom of the bracket features the Cardinals of Eunice. They're the 2 seed. Congratulations to Coach McBee, the district champions out of District 4. They'll get the home game against Mescalero Apache, the 2nd place finisher out of District 3. The Chiefs are in at 15. Anything surprise you there?
Just the Mesa Vista Tularosa. I thought Mesa would get the 3 just based on their schedule and who they played and who they beat. But this class, any team can shock you. There's so many good matchups first round. It's going to be interesting.
Is ATC a heavy favorite there, or is Eunice up to that task? I mean, do you agree with my assessment that Juju's the best player in that classification and this is theirs to lose? They have all that experience from the previous year?
They do have all that experience. They didn't lose anybody. Juju is a phenomenal player, but I would not sleep on the Santa Rosa Lions. I would not.
Santa Rosa, they're there at that 8-9 against Escalante. That'll be an interesting second round matchup against ATC. That 2A Boys Championship final, by the way, that would be played at, what time is that? 8 in the morning. That's the 8 o'clock game. So, that's tough. But I think that's, again, where it's important that ATC, they've been to the pit early. They're used to that kind of thing. That can go a long way, that experience.
It can go a long way, but you also don't want to sleep that 6th seed on the bottom of the bracket, Texaco.
Right. That Egg McMuffin game's tough, as Nick Nunez would say. That Egg McMuffin game is real tough. All right, 3A boys, let's move ahead. I know we've been waiting for this one. The number 1 seed, it goes to Robertson over Navajo Prep. Congratulations to head coach James Branch and the Cardinals, the district champs out of District 2. They'll get Zuni in the opening round. They'll face the winner of the 8-9, the 8 seed. The home game goes to Tehachapi, the Cougars, the 2nd place finisher out of District 1. They'll get the Dons of West Las Vegas. How about a potential West Robertson matchup in the quarters?
I would love to see it. I think the whole town would love to see it. Good crosstown rivals.
Bosque, they're the 5. Congratulations, Coach Davidson. Home game against the 12th seed, Socorro. The Bobcats, the district champions out of District 5. 8-0 in District, 20-7 regular season. 4, it's Coach Bean. The 4 seed, it's Hot Springs. The Tigers, they get through. Congratulations, Coach Bean. 6-0 in District, 23-5. They were the 4th Max Preps rated team. They're the district champs out of District 3. Let's see, Santa Fe Indian, they're the 3, the Braves, and Coach Abeta. They were 3rd in Max Preps. They're 3rd here. They're the runners-up out of District 2. They get the Skyhawks of Newcomb on their home floor, so the Braves will have a full house there, I'm sure, in the opening round. Newcomb, the Skyhawks, Coach Boone, 7-7 in District, 15-12 overall. They finished 4th in that district. Next, it's St. Michael's, the 6th seed, against Nemi at 11. The St. Michael's, up and down season there for the Horsemen and Coach Garcia, 3rd place out of District 2. It's a pretty young roster, though. 7 seed is Santa Fe Prep. Congratulations to Santa Fe Prep at 7. They'll get the 10 seed, Ruidoso. It's a long trip for the Warriors of Ruidoso at 10. And Coach Trujillo, the district champs out of District 4. Here's a sandwich and a card for gas. Get the head on the road. That's tough.
That's a very tough one.
And then there it is, Navajo Prep, the number 2 seed. They get Sandia Prep at the 2-15 matchup. What a season for Matt Melvin and Navajo Prep, the district champs out of District 1. 12-0, 22-4 on the regular season. They got some players that could be playing for any 5A team in the city, including a left-handed guard. I mean, that's a good basketball team.
Navajo Prep is really a good basketball team. They're very talented. They're quick. But I don't see anybody stopping the Robertson Cardinals.
We'll get to predictions later. I think you can see which way we're both leaning, but we'll get to that later. Are there any matchups in the opening round that either surprise you or intrigue you?
The 8-9 matchup.
Again, it's an 8-9. It's Tehachapi and West Las Vegas. Why?
West, first-year coach, but they're a very good, talented, quick team, but they're playing in a very hostile environment of Tehachapi.
Just a 2-8 district mark for the Dons this year under Ryan Aragon. But, if they could find a way through, I think records are out the window when they play Robertson, right?
Yeah.
That's got to scare Coach Branch a little bit.
It does, because you've played this team so many times. Everybody figures out everybody.
Is there an underdog here that could maybe win a game or two?
The bottom of the bracket has 3 really good teams coming out of the same district: Indian School, St. Michael's, and Santa Fe Prep.
Right. It's hard to pick. When the 1 and 2s are so good, it's hard to pick an upset kind of all the way through, isn't it?
It really is.
All right, let's go. We'll take a No, we'll stay here, actually. We'll go 4A boys. Michael will step aside here. Nick will rejoin me for 4A boys, but let's take a look at the bracket. We were wondering, did Valley choke away the number 1 seed on their home floor and a district tournament loss last night to Academy? They did not. The Vikings get the number 1 seed. Congratulations to Valley, the 16th seed. It's Los Alamos and the Hilltoppers. That'll be a tough one in the opening round for Los Alamos. The 8-9, it's Grants against Silver. Congratulations to the Pirates and Coach Chavez, 3rd place finisher out of District 5. They'll get Silver. That's always a tough opponent. The 5 seed, it's the Fighting Sartans of St. Pius X. Are you wearing a St. Pius tie, Nick?
No, this is for Mesa Vista.
Oh, okay, all right.
Sebastian, but congratulations to St. Pius.
Yeah, congratulations. I have a bunch of St. Pius questions to fire your way in just a moment. They're the 5 seed. They'll get the home game against Shiprock, the 12 seed. Congratulations, by the way, to Ryan Myers was named the District Coach of the Year in that district. The 4 seed out of the District of Champions is Albuquerque Academy. They'll get the home game there at the East Gymnasium against Gallup. Congratulations to Academy, the Chargers. They went all the way through that district tournament. They're the champions of that district tournament after having beat both Hope and Valley. That was an interesting game. Hopefully we get to that in a little bit. The 3 seed, it's Hope Christian and Coach Jim Murphy. Home game against Espanola Valley in the opening round there. Espanola Valley, they've had a nice season there at 2nd place finisher in their district. Max Preps ranking all the way down at 19, though. So the Sun Devils and Coach Trujillo, they had a really good coach, and they let him walk, and now he's on TV with us. So, anywho, enough about that. Artesia's the 6th seed. Always a great day to be a Bulldog, as Coach Mondragon would say. Congratulations to the Bulldogs. 1st place in District 4. You know what they're bringing. Size, physicality, that perfect contrast to the Albuquerque teams always, right?
Yeah, Clay Kincaid, their sophomore post, 6'7", plays with ABC Prep in the summers. I like their balance. We saw them in the Hope Christian tournament.
The home game in the 7-10 goes to Lovington, the Wildcats. Congratulations, Coach Pack, 2nd place finisher out of District 4. They'll host the Rams of Portales, Randy McBroom's team, 3rd place finisher in District 4. And then at the bottom, the 15 seed, it's Bloomfield. Congratulations to the Bobcats and head coach Dominique Richardson, 1st place finishers out of District 1, district champs, winners of 4 in a row. #JustHoop. I got you, Coach Richardson. I usually go with Coach for an upset. I can't do it against Highland, though. Sorry, Coach. The 2 seed's Highland. Any surprise there? Did you think Valley coughed up the 1 seed last night, Nick?
Well, it was interesting, Sebastian. Yeah, I was talking with Gabe before we came on, and you look at the criteria points, you try to analyze them the way that the NMAA does. There was a head-to-head matchup earlier in the season. Highland got them at Valley. But Valley's been playing really, really well. However, the criteria shakes out. They're deserving of the 1 seed.
What about how has St. Pius been able to give Highland so many problems? What has made those games must-watch TV?
Oh, man, I've watched every single one of those games. 5 games, 2 overtime games, both wins by Highland. The 3rd game was a 2-point win for St. Pius. They had a district tiebreaker on Monday of this week. Highland won that one, and then they played for the district tournament championship last night. Highland wins. It was a 50-50 game going into the 4th quarter. These teams just know each other so well. They've been in the same district for 4 seasons, have played 14 times, 10 games decided by single digits. So St. Pius's size, Highland's perimeter shooting, it's a good contrast to styles. They just have a great rivalry going.
I think Valley, they will have to beat Academy again to make it through their part of the bracket, and then potentially Highland or Hope Christian, this will be a tough road to the Blue Trophy for the Vikings.
Absolutely. I mean, they just lost to Albuquerque Academy last night. My dad and I did Valley Academy earlier in the season at Academy. You know, I thought Academy was struggling a little bit on the defensive side of the floor, and then last night they hold Valley to 45 points. If they can continue to establish a defensive identity, I think they're going to be right there.
Coach Mondragon, I'm awaiting that text about my city bias. I know it'll come. Can they prevent an all Final Four from the Duke City? I don't see it.
Well, I like Artesia this year. Like I said, I saw them in the Hope Christian Invitational. I think they're a little more balanced this season than they were last season. You know, they had Nick Sanchez, the 2-time District Player of the Year. He was a phenomenal player. But this year, like I said, they're more balanced. The guy that stirs the drink for them is Diego Wesson. He played really good in the quarterfinals against Valley last year in the pit. They got a couple shooters in Jared Watkins and Clay Campbell, and we mentioned their inside presence with Clay Kincaid.
I want to shout out my friend Mario Chavez and all the boys watching from Valley. The Vikings are watching today. I know they're waiting what I'm going to say about their program, waiting if I'm going to explode like a ticking time bomb. I know Donnie Kozlowski and they're waiting. They're waiting to see. To the analysis portion of the show later, I'll give my thoughts on that district championship game and how that turned out. I know they're just waiting for me to slip up and have that moment. But I have some thoughts on the Valley Vikings that I'll reserve for a little later. Did Artesia and Taos play in that Hope tournament? I don't recall the bracket, Nick.
They did play in that Hope tournament, and they actually played again earlier that year. Both wins for Artesia. It's hard to beat a team 3 times, Sebastian.
All right. Is there a team outside of the top 4 that you could see lifting the Blue Trophy in this?
St. Pius X. Yep. I think they have depth. You know, Coach Myers plays 10 or 11 guys. He's deep at the guard position. He's deep at the post position. They've been in a rock fight with Highland that entire way, but I think they've really developed as the season has gone on. I think they can surprise some people.
Bloomfield, can this Cinderella run continue? Is there a chance at all that they could give Highland a game in that opening round?
Well, they defend, Sebastian. If you look at their district, they're holding teams to 46 points per game in district, and they're a good defensive team. Very different style than some of the other Four Corners teams, Kirtland Central, Gallup, Shiprock, that play that up-pace style. They trap. They want to speed the game up. Bloomfield can defend in the half court, and they're going to need to do that in their 2-15 matchup with Highland.
How many of these teams would need to be disqualified for my Del Norte Knights to make it at 16?
Oh, Sebastian, it would take me hours to do the criteria. Credit to Coach McIntosh, though. He had those guys competitive in the district tournament.
All right, 4A boys bracket. We'll break that down in the second hour a little bit more. Let's move ahead to the 5A bracket. Thanks, Nick. I certainly appreciate it. Coach Martinez will slide in here with me, as will Ed, and we'll get some thoughts on 5A boys here. The number 1 seed should surprise absolutely no one. Congratulations to Greg Brown and Volcano Vista. They're the one. The 16th seed is Capital, and that means Rio Rancho is out. That's the big one. Rio Rancho, Coach Salata, I know he thought he was right on the verge there of maybe getting in this thing. So on a tiebreaker, they're out. The 8-9 matchup, it's Santa Fe that gets the home game. West Mesa travels. I talked about this on Twitter a little bit last night. I don't know if that's the worst thing. West Mesa has not been playing well on their home floor lately. So maybe Coach Schreier just wants to get his team on a bus and go to work. You ever think like that, Coach?
You know what? I think all coaches do prefer home games just because of the environment, having your home crowd there. But they got some talent. And as you guys know, Elijah Brody's really good, but they have a good supporting cast. They got some players, Stevan, and they got some guys that can play.
Right. The 5-12, it's La Cueva, the home game, but it's a rivalry game against El Dorado. Boy, no favors done to the Bears there to get El Dorado, Ed.
Not at all. The El Dorado had been playing pretty well. Kalijah Irving, I don't know where he came from, but that kid can go. And they've got Jackson and James and Emiliano Morrison. I like that team, but I also like La Cueva with Dyer and Chavez, Dylan Chavez. I like that team. That's going to be, you mentioned, Sebastian, to add to it. It's a district rivalry, so that's going to be a good one.
And the Bears are trending in the right direction right now. Stock up on La Cueva. The 4 seed, this upsets me a little bit. I got to say I'm a little disappointed to see Atrisco Heritage Academy on the same side of the bracket as Volcano Vista. They'll get a 13 seed, a tough one in Farmington. In my opinion, the second best team in this bracket, the team that could maybe beat Volcano Vista, that could give them the best chance at beating Volcano Vista, in my opinion, it is the Jaguars. I was hoping they'd be on the opposite side of the bracket. They are not. The home game, it's here against Farmington. It's a tough team. Farmington, they run their stuff, they stick around, and then next thing you know, it's the fourth quarter, it's close, and they got a really good go-to guy, Coach.
Cody.
And Cody Vasserstein, co-district player of the year. They can steal games at the end like they do almost every night in that district.
I mean, Cody's tough. Cody's tough. I've been seeing Cody play since he was a youngster. He's a heck of a ball player. But like you said, Atrisco's deep. You know, with Tay, with Marquise, Kadarius has been playing really well lately. They're playing good basketball. I think they're a dangerous team.
Cleveland, the 3 seed, they get the home game against Sandia. That's an interesting matchup there. Those two teams are no strangers. Cleveland hangs on to the number 3, despite Atrisco Heritage opening up a can on them late in the season. So the Storm, Coach Cole and his boys on the opposite side of Volcano. Check that box, right? That's important for every coach in this tournament. And also they get a first-round matchup against an opponent that's been struggling a little bit. But don't count the Matadors out, Ed.
You know what? They think they lost 3 of their last 4. Sandia did, and but there was games that I saw when they were playing downhill. You know, with Adams and Isaiah Brown, that kid would come shooting from the parking lot, and it's an 8th grader. He's got no fear. So I wouldn't count them out. You're right, Sebastian, because when they get rolling, they're high octane. So yeah, but I always look at teams that are trending, and right now they're trending in the wrong direction. But things can change quickly.
And I think Atrisco, they might be happier avoiding Sandia because Sandia beat Atrisco in the Metro tournament, and that was a real low point of the season for Atrisco. Coach Brown had a really good strategy that game. They executed it to a T. So I think Atrisco's content with playing Farmington there, and I think Sandia, they're okay with playing Cleveland as well. Coach Brown, I think, you know, he's ready. He's ready for the second season. He doesn't like the way they finished, but he's ready. The 6th seed, it's Clovis, the Wildcats. Congratulations, the home of Clovis All-American and ProView Network's president, Steve Davis, the Fighting Steve Davises, the 6th seed. They'll get the home game at Rock Staubis Gymnasium against Albuquerque High, the 11th seed. Clovis has done a lot of nice things this year. So that's a team, I think, they got a big guy.
Shoot it.
This could be a potential sleeper, maybe, Coach?
I don't know if a lot of teams have actually, or a lot of people have had the chance to see Clovis play. We actually played them this year, Coach Maddox, and they're a good team. They got some really good guards, as you said. They have a big man, and he can step out, he can shoot it. But Albuquerque High, Isaiah Maldonado, they got some guys too. I think for me, when it comes to March, they call it March Madness for a reason. Any given day, I think there's abilities for upsets or matchups make games, and depending on how they match up with each other, will be interesting.
Well, a text from Albuquerque High assistant coach BB Rico says, "Hey, let them know we're ready." So, and just a quick comment: Leroy Badella has done a heck of a job there at Albuquerque High. They've got some players. Isaiah Maldonado, I think, scored 1,000 points for his career. Mm-hmm. So but Coach, you're right about Josh Maddox, a heck of a coach, and we saw him at the Albuquerque Academy tournament, and I think that is going to be a very good matchup because. Albuquerque High has been down for a couple of years, and Coach Badella taking over for Greg Brown has turned that program around. So it's good to see the Bulldogs, back in the day. And Sebastian, you said you're old. Well, I'm ancient, man, because I remember, back in the day when, Albuquerque High, Coach Holtzman won 7. I remember most of those championships, not all of them, but yeah. So it's good to see Albuquerque High back in the saddle again.
Rounding out that bracket, the 7-10 matchup. Wilson Holland's going to have his heart torn here. His Las Lunas Tigers against his old Alamogordo Tigers in the 7-10 matchup. Las Lunas will get the home game there against Alamogordo. The 15 seed is Roswell. So you see Roswell. I guess, Coach, it came down to Roswell, Capital, Rio Rancho being in a 3-way tie, and Rio Rancho lost out on all points, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. For me, I thought it was going to be maybe Rio Rancho at the 15-16, but I thought it was between those 3 teams.
So Roswell, the 15 seed, gets in. They're the second place finisher out of District 4. They'll hit the road against Oregon Mountain, the number 2 seed, the district champs out of District number 3. Coach Gonzalez's team, 10-0 in district, 26-1 during this regular season, and so close to beating Volcano Vista last year. Can they finish the job this year, Ed?
Well, you know what? I had Coach Gonzalez on the sports desk earlier this year, and I called him this afternoon, called me right back, and he's like you, Coach. You know, he's going to say we're hungry. And one of the things he said to me is he saw the hunger in his kids, against Alamogordo yesterday in the district championship, or maybe he didn't think there was that hunger to beat them. But he did say this: everyone's got to take care of business. We've got to take care of our business. Volcano Vista, you can't look ahead. It's one game at a time. But in talking to Coach Gonzalez, they're ready. They want that game, Sebastian. But there's a lot of buts there, because if you look too far ahead, Coach, you know darn well you'll be bounced in the first round. So he did mention that to me. They got to take care of business. But he likes his team. I like that team very much. So we'll see.
Coach, who do you think is the second best team in that bracket?
I mean, obviously Volcano, man. Coach Brown does an amazing job. They got a lot of really good basketball players there. I'm looking at it. We played against Oregon Mountain this year. I've seen them play since last year. Trisco's been playing really well. Cleveland. I mean, it's a toss-up there, but I'm curious to see what happens. And even, at the bottom of the bracket,
Coach, we make selections on this show too, right? Are you going to be able to handle that coming up?
Yes. Listen, I'll be able to make selections soon.
All right.
But the one that interests me a little bit is Las Lunas facing off against Oregon Mountain in the second round. If my memory serves me correct, they did have a game earlier this season. I think Oregon Mountain beat them by 3 or 4 points. And, Jalen's Jalen, man. That guy's an amazing basketball player. So that's something that I'm looking for. And I'm not coaches, obviously, Alamogordo and Roswell, nothing there. But, if seeds play out, there's some interesting games here.
Coach, who's the second best team in that bracket?
All right. Hey, he's not going to let me slide on. Let me see here.
That's funny.
All right, we'll let you think about it during the commercial break.
We'll
We're going
get
to take a break. When we come back, here's what I want to do. We do want to get a bunch of shout-outs in for watch parties. I know we have a bunch, and we apologize. We've not gotten to those. You're going to have to sweat through the commercial break and answer that question.
We'll be good.
And when we come back from break, we are officially into the second hour. We're going to keep these two up here with me, and we'll go right back to that same bracket, and we will have our predictions on the 5A boys bracket when we return.
Picture yourself in a jacuzzi hot tub, or your spouse, or kids. Water is good for the soul, and a jacuzzi in winter? Wow. Come in today to the Jacuzzi showroom and pick your escape. Jacuzzi, why not? Picture yourself in a jacuzzi hot tub, or your spouse, or kids. Water is good for the soul, and a jacuzzi in winter? Wow. Come in today to the Jacuzzi showroom and pick your escape. Jacuzzi, why not? Picture yourself in a jacuzzi hot tub, or your spouse, or kids. Water is good for the soul, and a jacuzzi in winter? Wow. Come in today to the Jacuzzi showroom and pick your escape. Jacuzzi, why not? Picture yourself in a jacuzzi hot tub, or your spouse, or kids. Water is good for the soul, and a jacuzzi in winter? Wow. Come in today to the Jacuzzi showroom and pick your escape. Jacuzzi, why not?
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
They're coming. He sent them to me. Welcome back here. We're still working on Coach. Welcome back to the 2024 Bracket Breakdown Show. It's brought to you by Southwest Style Inc. Before we put that bracket back up there, we'll go through each matchup. But before we put that bracket back up there, Coach, who's the second best team in that bracket?
I've had time to think about it over the break. I mean, for me, I got to go with the team who's taken them to overtime. And then most recently yesterday, took them to a 3-point game?
Yeah.
So I think right now I'm going with Coach Heredia and Atrisco Heritage.
Let's talk about that game a little bit. I got to PA announce at that game. I thought that was the best they'd guarded Volcano Vista in all their matchups. They denied a lot of post entries to Kenyon. They did what they could on the glass. You know, obviously the huge advantage. Kenyon had 17 rebounds that game, but they did what they could on the glass there. Obviously, they hit big shots with Latavius and Marquise Renfro. Yeah, I mean, that's the team that's come the closest. Ed, what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? Steve and I had Rio Rancho and Atrisco Heritage last week, and you mentioned Renfro and Morris, and it's a bad matchup for Coach Salata. Coach Salata is a really good friend of mine, but they would get the ball and just go full court, coast to coast, playing downhill. So Renfro made one crossover move and lost 2 defenders. I mean, they're playing with confidence. Coach Heredia said after the game, let wild dogs be wild dogs sometimes, and that's what they did that game. But, in fairness to Coach Gonzalez out at Oregon Mountain, we've seen Atrisco Heritage, Volcano, and Cleveland. We haven't seen Oregon Mountain except when they're here. So, I might say the second best team is Atrisco/Oregon Mountain. And in fairness to Coach Gonzalez, we just saw them when they were here playing at the academy. They won 24 straight. So, to me, I've got to say 2A, 1A, but Atrisco, Coach, to your point, man, they are playing some great basketball right now. They really are. But that's what I see in front of me.
And we can't. We put our guy on the spot, and then you're gonna weasel out.
No slash.
We put our guy on the spot, and then you're gonna pull that.
For what I saw,
you gotta pick one.
What I've seen. I haven't seen Coach Gonzalez. All I've seen is on paper.
I have though.
So I saw him at the academy tournament. But if you're asking me right now, I'd probably say what I saw is Atrisco Heritage, and the way they're playing, man, they're really playing well. You mentioned that. Coach Kaderi Sims also plays well. Santianes and Sanchez off the bench, and they run some great stuff. But when you have athletes like that.
And in that game, Ed, not to interrupt, but in that game, they missed a ton of open threes, and they missed some bunnies at the rim, too. If you're looking at half glass full as an Atrisco fan, they missed some bunnies in that game and a bunch of open threes.
You know what? Yeah, and they will. And I think the thing about Renfro that Coach, I know you'd appreciate that. He makes the extra pass. If he sees somebody open, he just doesn't say, "Let me get mine." Boom, extra pass to the corner to Sims, who's a great corner shooter. Boom. So I really like him a lot as a player. So and the other thing is, you try to double Morris, he'll split the double, step back and hit a 3, get to the rim, make free throws, plays downhill. So that's a team that could definitely give Volcano Vista trouble for sure.
But I also think with Tay, people don't realize, and I saw it yesterday, and I've been seeing it for a long time, he also has really good vision. He drives, he drops off for guys, he makes others around him better. So, but don't sleep on Oregon Mountain. I'm telling you, we played them twice this year, and they are good. And coaches that have talked to me, you guys know, I say Oregon Mountain's got a shot.
Yes, I think so too.
And then lastly, the team that did beat them, Cleveland, can they do it again? That's the question, right? Because they're, I can already see Coach Cole's wife getting her Twitter fingers ready, right? Like they're at home saying, "Hey, wait a minute, we already beat them once."
Talk
about us.
Yeah, I want to chime in on that, and they did beat them. And I remember talking to Coach Brown after that. I was up at Volcano. We had a game, and Coach, I don't know if you agree or not. We want to win every game we can.
100%.
Sometimes losing refocuses things, though. It says, okay, we told you weren't this. You need to work on that, because everybody starts getting comfortable with winning, and that's okay. We want to win. But I thought that loss. What happened after that? Now, all due respect to Zach Cole and Cleveland, Volcano Vista beat them 3 times after that. So the Volcano Vista mystery or the puzzle, how do you solve that? And it gave people hope. They can be beat. The Cleveland beat them. It can't happen. But Greg Brown has only won what, 24 games? Greg Brown and the Hawks have won 25 in a row. The 2-time defending champion at Volcano Vista won a title at Monzano. That guy's one of the best coaches in the state. There's no doubt about it. Historically great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. There's no doubt. But can it be done? Yes, absolutely. Coach, you mentioned that. Matchups, a bounce here, call there. Sebastian, you know that.
The two things, I think the two things going against Cleveland for me, one, you look at their starting lineup, they have 2 non-scorers on the floor at all time. I think that makes them a little easier to guard. And then 2, defensively, they just haven't brought it with the kind of intensity that a Zach Cole team normally has on the defensive end. I'm a little bit surprised at the amount of points they've given up in district, to be honest. And yeah, I know that's a great district, and the teams are all good, but I'm just a little surprised that Cleveland hasn't been a little bit better defensively. But you know what? They've done it before. They've already done it once, so obviously they've done it.
One quick point: Volcano Vista scored 100 points 3 times. On the verge of scoring 100 again with 99. That's a high octane team, man. So Cleveland, as you mentioned, may not have played the best team, but that team right now, Trisco Heritage, when you're rolling like that, Coach, that's tough to stop, man.
And Coach Cole's a great coach. He's going to have those guys ready to play. And as you guys know, come state tournament, there's a different energy, there's a different mentality that you go into the game with. Those players are going to be in there, and you're going to see a level of defense and energy and execution that maybe you don't see every single night during the regular season. But you're going to see that during tournament time.
And I do think they still have Daniel Steverson.
Oh, yeah.
And that kid's special. And not only is he special, but I think he's played this season pissed. Because I think he thinks he's a little bit under-recruited, which I agree with. Whatever 100%. College ends up getting that kid, they are getting a winner, they're getting a dog, they're getting a gym rat, they're getting a special basketball player. So he has played all season like a man possessed. So you bottle that for a week in the pit, he's definitely good enough to take a team all the way.
100%. Steverson's a special player. Yeah. They have Remy, they have Noah. I think they have the pieces. And when you've played against teams so many times, stylistically, you learn stuff about each other.
And throw the bracket back up there, Alden, our director, Alden Ioani. We should point out they also have a pretty decent road through, right? If we we'll get the bracket back up there in a moment. But I think Coach Cole is happy that he stayed on that side of the bracket. Right, there it is. Okay, so he's happy that he stayed opposite there, right? He gets a struggling Sandia in the opening round. And then no disrespect to Clovis and Albuquerque High, that has a potential of being the easiest second-round matchup in the bracket. Okay, then if he can navigate through there, then he would have to face possibly Oregon Mountain or Los Lunas, right? So he gets to avoid a Trisco and Volcano at the beginning, get his legs under him, get rolling. I mean, I don't think Coach Cole is unhappy at all right now.
No, I don't think so. But honestly, when I look up there at the bracket, and maybe it's just me being biased as the coach out here, I see a lot of good teams and a lot of good players.
All right, we're gonna go through the matchups now. We'll leave that up there. I don't know. Alden does magic things where he puts us on the bracket. I don't know.
Oh, nice.
But we're gonna do picks here like we do traditionally. Some of these matchups we've talked about, so we'll kind of go over them quickly. Some of them we will talk more about. The 116, obviously, is anyone gonna go on that ledge? No, right?
No.
Okay. So then that 8-9 features Santa Fe and West Mesa. West Mesa's been scuffling a little bit. Even their wins have been very close. Santa Fe, they've had a real nice season there. They have a really special player in Lucas Turner. And the game's at Toby Roybal Gymnasium. Does that make a difference for you, Ed? Who do you like in that 8-9? What are your thoughts?
It does make a difference when you're playing at home. Coach would probably agree. When you're at home, it makes a difference. I like the Demons by a couple of points. It's going to be a close matchup, but going on the road, I think it's going to be a tough task. And I hate to pick against Sean Schreier because he's a friend, but I think I think Santa Fe is going to come out on top of that.
Coach, what do you like in that 8-9 there?
I think the Santa Fe gym is going to be rocking. It's going to be packed. But for me, I think West Mesa is going to pull it off. I think it's going to be a close game, but I see Elijah Brody and the supporting cast pulling that one off as an away game.
I think the key there for me is going to be the play of Jeremiah Holtz. I know what I'm getting out of Elijah Brody every night. I know what I'm getting out of Lucas Turner every night. But for West Mesa, however Jeremiah Holtz has gone, they've gone. When he gets going, is such a smooth guy. He gets to his spots, Coach. He gets to the elbows. He gets to the wings. Man, he's the barometer, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's the X factor. But how about Estevan too?
Lefty. Right.
Hey, Estevan can get hot. He's had several 20, 30-point games this year. I think they got some firepower.
It's not a very deep team, though. So you start getting in foul trouble at Toby Roybal Gymnasium, that could be a problem. With that being said, you took West Mesa. I'm going to take the Mustangs as well to move on there in that opening round. All right, so then the 5-12, it's a district matchup. It's La Cueva and it's El Dorado. Ed, what do you think?
You know what? I think for La Cueva, February 10th, Steve and I had that game at La Cueva versus West Mesa, and that kind of changed their fortunes. Dylan Chavez was out that game, and Cam Dyer was the point guard and took control, distributed the ball, and they showed some grit and toughness that I think people may have thought they didn't have. So I think ever since then, the season has gone much better for La Cueva, beating West Mesa last night for the district title. I think that game is going to be a very good one. It's at La Cueva. El Dorado's, we mentioned who they have. I'm going to take the Bears in that one. I think the Bears come out on top. I think they're trending upward right now. And although El Dorado and Roy Sanchez, Coach Sanchez, is a great coach and an even better guy, but in that one there, I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Coach, El Dorado's been playing well as of late. Bears seem to have turned the corner a little bit. I think that's a really, really good opening round matchup. What do you like there?
It is a really good opening round matchup. And correct me if I'm wrong, El Dorado just beat La Cueva, was it about a week ago?
Oh, yeah.
About a week ago. However,
from opening tip all the way to the end.
To the end.
El Dorado was in complete control of that game.
Yes, 100%. I think Josh Jackson's a heck of a player as well. For me, I think I'm going to go with the depth. I'm going to go with La Cueva, with Dylan Chavez and Cam Dyer and company. I think they're going to get that win.
El Dorado's been playing really good basketball. I love Josh Jackson. The supplementary pieces have been doing a good job. I think this is exactly what Coach Orell would have wanted in the opening round. A matchup that gets their attention. A matchup they don't sleepwalk through. A matchup they don't walk into thinking, oh, we're La Cueva, we're going to win this game. No, El Dorado has their full attention, and I think that's a good thing for La Cueva. I'll take the Bears. All right, that 4-13, it's Atrisco and Farmington. We talk about how good Farmington is. We talk about how patient they are. But Atrisco, man, that's a powerhouse there. Does anyone want to go up on a huge limb there?
I've got Atrisco.
No, I got Atrisco as well, yeah.
All right, let's go bottom side of the bracket then. Cleveland and Sandia. We talked about the Storm earlier extensively. Sandia, we hadn't talked as much about them. They got off to a pretty good start. They played a really tough schedule, and then they hit the skids in district. That's a really young team. 2 8th graders in the starting lineup. Coach Brown made that move in the middle of the season, put Gad Harris and his son Isaiah into the starting lineup. So maybe, I don't know, that's a long season for 8th graders. Did they get a little tired down the stretch? I don't know. It's also a very tough district. But can he get it turned around? Obviously, they have a great leader and player in Thomas Adams, but can he get this turned around and pull this upset?
I mean, for me, Cleveland is obviously the favorite. However, for anyone that saw Sandia early in the year, or seen when Sandia's playing well, Sandia plays a very fast-paced game, and when they're shooting the ball well, they are dangerous. I mean, you've seen it against some of the top teams in the state. When Sandia is shooting the ball well, they're dangerous. So that one's tough for me. Cleveland has. I'm going to go with Cleveland, but I would say do not be surprised if Sandia is shooting the ball well that they couldn't surprise some people. But I'm going to go with Cleveland in that first round game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said there. I mean, I'm going Cleveland as well, but if that game's over and Sandia wins, I wouldn't be surprised at all. You're going to know why, because they shot it well, right? Ed, what do you think?
You know what? I think you mentioned the 8th grader Isaiah Brown maybe being tired, but he's a coach's son. He's in the gym. He's, Papa Brown, the great late Mike Brown, he's around it. So I don't think that's a factor. That kid, when I saw him play, I'm like, man, he's shooting 30, 35 feet and hitting him, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the kid has no fear, or none of that bothers him. The fatigue, and I think he's ready. Coach, his dad, he's around it all the time. His sister, his uncle, they're basketball, they're junkies. So I don't think that bothers him. But
I smell an upset pick here.
One of the things you mentioned, Coach Martinez, about Cleveland, if you lose, you go home, man. Right? That fear, so maybe they haven't been playing as good a D as as we might have expected, but the fear of going home, lose and go home. So I've got Cleveland. I think they'll win that one.
Oh, I thought he was going out. I thought he was climbing out on that limb. He was making the case.
I've got
Oh,
Cleveland.
all right. Next one there, it's Clovis and Albuquerque High. It's a long road trip for the Bulldogs. Clovis, they're tough at home. They have some injury issues at the guard position there. I don't know if that's 100% remedied. Who do you like there in that opening matchup between Clovis and Albuquerque High? Let's start with you, Ed.
It's the Bulldogs have had a great season. Albuquerque High is really, they've we mentioned that Leroy Baudella has done a great job there. It's a long road trip you mentioned, and I think Josh Maddox has done a great job. I've seen probably more Albuquerque High games than I've seen Clovis, and seeing where Clovis is at and the 6th seed and the Bulldogs having to go on the road, I'll take the Wildcats in that game. But I wouldn't. I could see Albuquerque High winning that game. Albuquerque High, what did they lose that Santa Fe twice on a 50-foot shot at the buzzer twice? I mean, what's the chances of that? So it wouldn't surprise me if Albuquerque High, pulled that one out. But I'll take Clovis.
Coach, who do you got in that one?
I think that's an interesting matchup. I think it's an interesting matchup. Clovis plays a good brand of basketball. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check out their games this year, but they move the ball around really well. They seem to do a lot of it by committee. They got some good pieces. Albuquerque High does the same thing. Isaiah Maldonado. They got some guys on their team who can play. This one's a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Clovis on this one. I was about to do my first upset of the bracket pick on it, but I think I'm going to go with Clovis on this one.
Step aside, Coach. I'll do it. I got the Bulldogs. I got Albuquerque High in that first round matchup. I don't think Clovis is healthy. That's my thing. I don't think that guard's 100% back all the way. I think Albuquerque High, yes, they had some setbacks against Santa Fe, but I think their game travels well. They're tough. They're gritty. They guard a little bit. They got some very interchangeable parts on the perimeter. You don't know who's going to beat you each night. Yeah, Maldonado's probably the guy, right? But those other guys are more than capable.
Oh, yeah. Ollie and some of those other guys, yeah.
I think what really impressed me also was in the Metro tournament after they had a really, really disheartening loss. I don't remember who I was broadcasting with that night, but I told them, I said, man, this could really hurt them the next night. And they looked better the next night. I thought mentally they overcame a hurdle. So, that's a close matchup. But someone's got to pick an upset, so I'll go the Bulldogs.
There you go.
All right, let's put the bracket back up here. Let's take a look at another one. We're heading towards the bottom of the bracket here. It's been mostly chalk here in this first round. We've all had Volcano. We all had West Mesa. We all had La Cueva, and then we each had a Trisco, and then we each had Cleveland, and then just the one I did take Albuquerque High. But if we look at that bracket, if we can get that bracket up one more time to look at the bottom there, Los Lunas and Alamogordo, 7-10, Battle of the Tigers. That's an interesting matchup because Los Lunas is one guy. Alamogordo's got a pretty athletic team. Do they have enough to stop Jalen Holland, I guess is the question. Who do you like in that game, Coach?
I'm going Coach Julian and Jalen Holland with Los Lunas in that game for me.
Ed?
I think the same thing. And, Sebastian, you asked that, can they stop Holland? Probably not, but the games I've watched, Logan Tafoya came through with some shots. Wattis hit some shots. The game that we had them against Trisco Heritage earlier in the year, that they beat them in overtime at Trisco Heritage. They, some other guys stepped up and hit some. No one's going to stop him. That guy is so strong. Splits doubles, shoots over you, rebounds, follows, hits the free throws. Not one person, right, could stop him. Coach, you got to, send gimmick defenses at him and hope everybody else doesn't hit the shots. So not one person can stop him. But I think in Sebastian, you're right. Coach Holland playing at Alamogordo, Tiger versus Tiger. There's of course he's the AD at Los Lunas, and he's a full Los Lunas Tiger now. But some memories for Coach Holland for sure.
I like Kinsey on that team when he gets going a little bit. I think he provides enough. I think they have enough around Jalen Holland.
Yes, they do.
Defensively, Coach Julian's going to have something cooked up every night. You know that. His record since he's gotten there, I think it's 10 district titles or something crazy like that. Might even be 12. I don't know. But you talk about a coach that can really, put together a game plan. I like Los Lunas as well. All right, what's the other matchup in that bottom of the bracket there? Throw that up one more time. It's Roswell against Oregon Mountain. I think we all got Oregon Mountain there, right?
Yes, we do.
No doubt.
All right, so then we have Oregon Mountain, Los Lunas there at the bottom of the bracket. That's an interesting one.
Yes,
Does anyone want to ride Jalen Holland into an upset here, or do you think Oregon Mountain's just too deep?
I mean, like I said earlier, I didn't get a chance to watch the game, but I'm always checking box scores during the year, and I know that they did play, and Oregon Mountain did beat them, but I think it was a very close, competitive game. I think Coach Julian had Los Lunas playing really well defensively. I'm still gonna. I'm gonna go ahead and stick with. Actually, you know what? Let's go our first upset. I'm gonna go with Jalen Holland in the second round there.
Wow, that would be a huge one. The 7 seed Los Lunas and Jalen Holland knocking out Oregon Mountain. Ed, you want to join that limb with them? I think you might be a little more cautious in that one, right? I think Oregon Mountain's too deep.
The Karis Lee, Pack, Venegas off the bench, De La Huse, the guard. I really like that team. I think
they can throw a lot at Jalen Holland.
They can. Lee's he made a play on the press and jumped like 7 feet. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I asked Coach David Williams, who was there watching, who used to be the former El Dorado football coach, what position could he play in football? Safety. Now, can he guard Holland one-on-one? No, probably not, with some help maybe. But I like Oregon Mountain. And Sebastian, you're right about Coach Julian. What a fantastic job he's did there. And at Manzano, I remember when I used to officiate, man, that guy would get after you, man. he would really get after you. But, always for his team, fighting for his team. But no, I've got, if it goes to that, I've got Oregon Mountain in the second round.
All right, so Ed, I'm going to agree with you. I got Oregon Mountain as well. Coach Martinez was the brave one there. He took Los Lunas in an upset over Oregon Mountain. All right, Cleveland, Clovis, Albuquerque High. Obviously, I took the Bulldogs. You guys have Clovis. So who do you have there in that Cleveland matchup against either Clovis or Albuquerque High?
I got Cleveland in that matchup.
Yeah, me too.
I would take Cleveland.
All right, if we move up there, we all had La Cueva, we all had a Trisco. That sets up an interesting matchup between La Cueva and a Trisco. I think La Cueva's length could bother a Trisco. Trisco plays a lot faster and harder than La Cueva, though, most of the time. So I don't know. What do you like there in that Trisco La Cueva game?
I would take a Trisco in that. I think you mentioned the speed, and Renfro and Morris are just, I think, too fast with La Cueva guards. But Chavez and Dyer and Lovato inside the big kid. What the big kid that shoots?
Jacobson, yeah. Jacobson can step out and shoot.
You know what? That length could bother a Trisco Heritage.
I think what I see happening in that game, Gabe, is I think La Cueva might get enamored by that Atrisco style and think they can play the same way, and they're going to look up and Atrisco's going to have 97 points, and they're not.
I think I have Atrisco winning that game, so we can mark me down for Atrisco. However, I think top to bottom, maybe you guys can correct me. I think top to bottom, La Cueva may have the biggest team.
Oh yeah,
by far.
Yeah, it's not even close.
And depending on how a team is shooting, the size and rebounding, and there's different factors that go. I have Atrisco, but La Cueva's length and size could definitely cause some issues.
All right, so we all have Volcano, right, Ed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then final 4 matchups, here they are. Volcano Vista and Atrisco at the top of the bracket. What do you like there, Ed, in that matchup? Again, a rematch.
Oof, man, you know what? Trisco gave them a really good game yesterday, and they lost, by 3. And Coach Rocky Gonzalez mentioned that to me. He says, "Hey, Trisco almost got him yesterday. You never know." I don't know that anybody solved that Volcano Vista inside game. Their guards, Lund, if he gets 2 feet in the paint, forget it. That kid is unbelievable. It's quick. That first right step, unbelievable. And 14 years old, man. I'm like, gosh, where do you get that athleticism? So. Hudson Brown's a solid guard. He's a daddy's, Coach Brown's son. Knows what Coach Brown wants out there. I just haven't seen enough of anybody. They got beat once and won 24 straight. I've got Volcano.
Coach.
So, last week, Atrisco took Volcano to overtime. Lost in overtime. Obviously, yesterday they lost by 3 points in the district tournament championship game. But I am going to go with Volcano. I think Coach Brown's going to make some adjustments to the things that were maybe some issues and some stuff that had Atrisco giving them some issues. So I'm going Volcano.
Here's the thing with the Hawks. I mean, when there's even anything that remotely resembles adversity, they give the ball to Kenny and Aguino.
Huh?
No one else has that weapon. I mean, and it's uncanny that every time they're in a tight spot, he gets the ball. I mean, it's just so disciplined. They all know where to get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a quick bucket, or he's so quick on the second jump. I just don't see it. I'm not convinced at the Pit. He'll have his biggest games at the Pit. He always does, right? I'm just not as convinced with the other guys, right? Other than Marquise and Tay. I do think though, if they just shoot the lights out, would I be shocked? No, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
So I'll take Volcano as well.
The other thing about Aguino is he makes his free throws. You send him to the line, he's going to hit his free throws too. So, that's tough because you usually want to foul us. You can't foul him either. So he's a real tough matchup.
And then
and
they all make their free throws.
Yeah.
Ed. Not only that, but then you got Ryan Gonzalez who can hit a 3. You got David Gutierrez who he guards the best player on the other team every single night. Yeah, okay. Bottom of the bracket there. We all have Cleveland. So, Ed, you and I have Cleveland against Oregon Mountain, and Coach has Cleveland against Los Lunas. So who do you like there? We'll let you go first since you have the Los Lunas matchup there. Cleveland, Los Lunas, who do you have?
And I'm going to tell you why I picked Los Lunas. If there's going to be an upset, I think that you need to have star power and a primetime player when there's going to be a big upset. So, that's why I have Jalen Holland. So who do I have next on it? We got, you know what? This may be some biased. I'm still going to go with our district here. I'm going Cleveland.
Okay, Ed, you and I have Cleveland against Oregon Mountain in that other matchup there to the Final Four. Who do you like?
You know what? I don't know the Cleveland. You said that you thought they'd play better D once the tournament starts, Coach. And I don't know that Cleveland has the defensive pieces to stop Brandon Kiris, man. That guy's footwork, we saw with the Academy tournament, that guy, man, he made an incredible move up and under on the other side. Beautiful, District Player of the Year. I really like him a lot, and then he puts the work in the weight room, puts it in.
Mm-hmm.
So Sebastian, you mentioned Steverson. That guy, man, he's a playmaker.
So they'll have to put Strat on Kiris, right? You have to, right? I don't know if Cleveland has enough guards to guard their guards. Oregon Mountain's so deep at that position, right?
Pax off the bench too. He's another guard.
Steverson can guard his man, no doubt.
Right.
We don't have any doubt about that. But then you got Remy's pretty undersized. Brito's going to end up being pretty undersized against whatever guard they put him on. I think Oregon Mountain's guards are just too good there.
I've got Oregon Mountain. I think it'd be a good matchup, but I think Oregon Mountain's just a little bit deeper.
I think it's. I don't know. And then the question becomes, does Cleveland have enough offense, right? Oregon Mountain has 5 guys on the floor that can score.
Last year, I think you were calling the game. It was Cleveland versus Sandia.
Right.
And Sandia had tall guards, athletic guards last year. And if I remember correctly, Remy got pretty hot in that game.
Right. Remy can do that, right?
Yeah.
He can get hot. I think Oregon Mountain's too deep. I'm going to have to go Oregon Mountain there. So we have a championship of Volcano Vista and Cleveland, Volcano Vista and Oregon Mountain. So you have the all District 1 championship. See, you're doing it right. Your brothers are going to be happy in that district. All right, who do you have as the winner in that one?
I mean, until someone shows that they can knock Volcano off, I mean, for me, the pick's still going to be Volcano. I think they have a lot of pieces around Kenyon. David Lund's a heck of a player, as you said. Huddy, you got Ryan Gonzalez, you got David Gutierrez.
They're so deep, too.
They're
I mean,
deep.
their backup, what's Devon Smith, right? He'd be the starting 4 or 5 on every other team in the district. He's that good.
And they have, that's a very high IQ team. Me and Coach Salata were talking before the game when we were at the yesterday's game, and they have some high IQ on that team. They got some players, so I'm going with Volcano.
All right, I'll let you do the pick on the championship game, Ed. I'm going to bow out of that one since I'll be calling it. Volcano and Oregon Mountain. Who do you have in that championship?
Man, I wanted, hearing Rocky Gonzalez in my ear this afternoon, see him talking about they're hungry for that game, but, Coach Martinez, as hungry as they may be, you better take care of business in front of you and not think ahead. That was his message to me, but they remember that game at the Pit last year. And when I had them on the sports desk earlier this year, they had lost by 20. And I think that was my question. Is like, were they over, because that's the team you lost to in the Pit, and they lost by 20 at Oregon Mountain. And he said, well, maybe we're just overhyped, but they've won 24 straight since that loss, 24 straight. So as much as I want to pick Oregon Mountain, I have to pick Volcano because I've seen them and I've only heard about what Oregon Mountain's done, and I just don't think anybody has solved that. Again, Coach Brown loses one to Cleveland, they roll off 25 or 24 in a row. So based on that, I've got to go with Volcano Vista as the champion.
I mean, a couple of points I will make there is, they had their chance last year, right? I mean, but you got to think, Greg Brown's been practicing against that scenario from that game all season long, right? He's got to have 100 different out of bounds plays to break some of that pressure that Rocky threw at him in last year's state tournament.
You know what? I'll say this, and Coach, you said it too. We don't know what situation. That's why you're the coach. How many plays you for this situation, right? My son coached at St. Pius with one of the best coaches. It's Damian Segura. That's what it comes down to. We don't know what it's going to come down to. It could bounce here, a call, right? There could be a call like, oh my gosh, we don't know. But based on what I know, what I've seen, and I saw Oregon Mountain, I was very impressed with that team, very impressed. But I still have to go with Volcano Vista is just that good. Right. So I got to go with the Hawks.
All right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Let's throw the 4A bracket up there on the screen, if you can, Alden. We're gonna skip ahead to 4A, bring that bracket back up there. Certainly some interesting picks. I want to see if you could come up golden on that Los Lunas pick. Coach, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Ed. We'll have Nick slide in here, and we'll talk some 4A boys. Obviously, we talked about some of the matchups that intrigue us a little bit. I mean, I do want to get into that number 1 seed Valley here. I got a chance to watch that district tournament game, Nick, and I'm going to make a racehorse comparison. Okay. All right. If you have the horses and you're leading, you're going to run through the finish line, right?
You would think.
Right. You're not going to pull up, right? And I saw it again last night, late in the first half. That team is so explosive. I think Julian Chavez is one of you could make the argument that he's the best 4A player in the class, right? Him and Jesus. You got a shooter in Kozlowski. They have 2 bigs. They have a lot of weapons. Sometimes I think that they play a little too slow at times. Valley's success could also be their undoing, in my opinion. Those are just my thoughts on their district tournament loss to Albuquerque Academy. But Nick, I think none of us are going to go on that limb, right? We're all going to have Valley in that matchup. So, and I think Highland, we're good there, right? The 1s and the 2s. What potential first-round upsets could you see there? Or are you going to go all chalk? If we bring the bracket back up, let's go through it. And do you have an upset there somewhere?
I think that Portales-Lovington matchup is interesting. Those teams in the same district, they've played so many times this year. If I were to pick an upset, I guess it's a 7-10. But other than that, Sebastian, I think it's pretty clear across the board.
Right. So you have Grants in that 8-9. That's always a popular one. You have Grants there. I agree with you. You have St. Pius over Shiprock there. You have Academy over Gallup. You have Hope over Espanola Valley. You have Artesia over Taos, Lovington. Portales is the one you thought. Okay, so then that would put a Valley and. All right, do you have anything that's not chalk in the next round?
I don't think so. So we got Valley, Grant's a good team, 17-10 this year, 17-11 under Landon Chavez. They got some shooters, Sebastian, but Valley plays too good a defense. I don't see an upset there. St. Pius and Albuquerque Academy in the quarterfinals. Rivalry game. They met in the quarterfinals a couple years ago. St. Pius came out on top. They've played 2 times this year. It's tough, Sebastian. You know, we hate making picks on this show. I'm going to pick Albuquerque Academy over St. Pius. I think if they're able to continue to play well defensively like they did in the district tournament championship, I think Academy comes out on top. Hope Artesia, you know, good matchup there in the quarterfinals. We'll see when the Egg McMuffin game is, whoever gets that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but I think Hope Christian a little too much. They're really balanced, and I think Nathan Saavedra and Braden Hedon off the bench.
I love Saavedra. He plays so much bigger than whatever they list him at. I don't know what they have him listed at, but he plays bigger than that. I love his size inside.
I agree with you. I was watching him at the Hope Christian tournament. He's listed at 6'2". I thought he was like 6'4", 6'5".
He plays much bigger, doesn't he?
Yeah, and they're going to need him. You know, if it is the quarterfinals between Artesia and Hope, he's going to have to battle with Clay Kincaid. You mentioned it, that physical style from the South. But I think Hope a little too much, so I'm going to take Hope in the quarters. And then Lovington and Highland, interesting matchup, Sebastian. This is a Lovington team that I think not a lot of people know about. They have some big guys. DeMarcus Thompson, the football player from their state championship football team, they can rebound the ball pretty well.
They're athletic too.
They are. Yeah, they're 7 for a reason. If you look at the Max Preps rankings, they're up there. I think they're ranked number 7 when the Max Preps rankings closed out for 4A. So that's a tough matchup. I don't think they have enough for Highland, though. If Highland's shooting the ball well, which they did last night in the district tournament championship against St. Pius, Highland too much. I got Highland in the quarters.
All right. Am I going to get my all-metro area Final Four here or no?
I think so. Yeah, we're going to see Highland, Hope Christian, and then Albuquerque Academy and Valley.
All right, and then so we're at Valley. Valley and Albuquerque Academy rematch of last night's district tournament championship game. Who do you like in that one?
4th time these teams are playing. When they played at Academy, 2nd time this season, Academy did not look good defensively. But you saw the game last night. If they're able to buckle down and play defense, I think they could squeeze this one out. This would be a rematch of the semifinals last year. But, Sebastian, I like Valley this year. I think Coach Panas has done a good job. You mentioned it. They're super balanced. They got great shooting with Rosendo Roybal and Diego Mezcalis Rivera. They rebound the ball. Charles Lopez Burton been getting some minutes. So I like Valley in the semifinal.
Yeah, I like Valley over Academy too. I just think get off to a good start and keep playing. Play every minute of every quarter. I know Valley's style sometimes is running that patient offense, but when you got those guys, they're horses, man. You run them through the finish line. Though you have the horses to win it all, run them through the finish line. I do like them in that matchup against Academy. At the bottom, then we would have Highland against Hope.
They played earlier in the year, and it was a 20-point win for Highland. I think it was in the Joe Armijo tournament played at Academy. Sebastian, there are times this year, and I've seen Highland a lot, where teams really focus in on Jesus Lincoln, the state's leading scorer at 30 points per game. Last night, Coach Woody, I talked to him after the game, other players stepped up. And Coach Woody, a great coach, makes good in-game adjustments. He's going to have to find other guys to get involved. Isai Herrera, 23 points last night in the district tournament championship. Some of those role players for Highland, I think, really stepping up. I'm going to take Highland in the semi.
Yeah, I will say this, Nick. Hope Christian is a far better team now than they were at that point. And I really want to talk myself into it. I really do. I just love their pieces, right? I love Perry. I think Saavedra plays bigger than he is. They got shooters everywhere. They got Coach Murphy roaming the sidelines. But, Highland, I think they have a piece that's just as good or right there or better than the opposite on the court, right? You have a Stanford that would cancel out this guy. You have this piece that cancels out this piece. And then the X factor, it's Jesus, right? I mean, the way he's been shooting, it hasn't just been a couple of 50 burgers. No. It's been every single night.
30 points per game speaks for itself, Sebastian. Yeah, no, Coach Murphy did a great job. Hope, state runner-up last year. They had a good tournament run. They played well on the pit floor in the quarterfinal. It could be a toss-up, but I'm taking Highland.
All right, so that gives us a Valley Highland championship in front of what I think will be a very, very large crowd. 2 older schools. That's a 4 o'clock game, 4A boys final. Valley and Highland, we both have that game. What do you think?
Well, Highland shot lights out that game at Valley. I did the game with Coach Coleman, and he was like, man, I have not seen a Highland team shoot this good. And I think early in the season, everyone was surprised by Highland. They don't have a traditional big. They're small. But I think as the season has progressed, Valley has played great defense. Valley, to me, is a top 3 defensive team in 4A. Defense travels on the pit floor. Some things don't travel on the pit floor. Sometimes shooting is difficult on the pit floor. Could be one of those games where if Highland's not hitting, it's going to be Valley. And I like Valley in the state championship this year, Sebastian.
You know, Valley, I think they just have too many pieces. I mean, I'm going to tend to agree with you there. I think, you know, they get enough out of Huron. Lopez Burton, I think, is really good off the bench, right? He's maybe a little bit more offensive-minded than Huron, but they both, you combine them, they get plenty out of that position. Again, I think Hooley is just so special for them. He can score at all 3 levels. He can guard. I think he's going to really pick up that assignment on Lincoln. He's going to relish that challenge. Kozlowski shoots well there, right? I think he's going to be very comfortable on the pit floor. Misclas Rivera coming off the bench. Yeah, I don't, you know, again, the only thing that could stop Valley from winning this game is if they have a lead 4, 5, 6, and they just play it too slow. You have the horses. Run them through the finish line.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Sebastian. They did the same thing when they were beating Academy earlier in the season, where they just play keep away, right? They kind of play 50 feet, and I think the message from Coach Panas, and they'll be ready for that, is play not to lose. Play not to lose. If a layup's there, if a shot's there, shoot with confidence. Tyler Kozlowski shot phenomenal in the state tournament last year. I think it's Valley this year.
All right, we're going to go take a quick commercial break. We got a lot to get to still. We want to move ahead to the other brackets on the boys' side, and we got to get some girls' predictions in as well. We'll be back with more after this.
Picture yourself in a jacuzzi hot tub, or your spouse, or kids. Water is good for the soul, and a jacuzzi in winter? Wow. Come in today to the Jacuzzi showroom and pick your escape. Jacuzzi, why not?
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Technical difficulties on Twitter, so we're not able to get up some pictures. So I do want to give some shout outs. The Panthers are watching. ProView Network, or excuse me, Atrisco Heritage gives a shout out to at ProView TV. So I see the boys, I see Tay and the guys. Volcano Vista boys are watching. Justin Woody and company, they're watching. Lovington, the girls are watching. Ruidoso girls are watching. Scorpion boys are watching. Hot Springs, they're watching. So I know there's a lot of them. I'll retweet all those after the show. We couldn't get those pictures up. We really apologize. Definitely get those retweeted out. Thank you so much. We've had a lot of feedback. I know, judging by my texts, I have already upset a few of my coaching friends. So I'm sure Nick and Ed will get similar texts on their ways home. Michael, we bring you back in here, and let's go right back into it. Brackets. Let's see. I think the A boys bracket is what Alden's going to throw up next. You were surprised by the number 1 seed, Magdalena, but now that they are the overall number 1 seed, are they going to win this thing for you, or do you see some upsets?
I do see them winning the whole thing just because of who they played and the wins they have against. You see they have wins against Texaco, Hot Springs, Fort Sumner, Tularosa. So they've played tough teams, and now that I've thought about it, they did deserve the number 1 after all. But you can't sleep on Des Moines. You can't sleep on Fort Sumner House, Melrose, Logan. It's just going to be a battle. You can't also sleep on Legacy Academy. So it's going to be some surprising games if there's upsets.
Any upsets here, or chalk in the Final Four? Or do you have an upset? Do you have someone that makes it into the Final Four that's not a 1 through 4 seed?
Logan.
Okay.
I can see Logan. Even though they've battled Melrose plenty of times, I just think Logan will get the upper hand on Melrose.
Yeah, I love Coach Joyce, man. I think he is one of the best coaches we have ever seen here in this area. But it is his first year, right? I think now you lay the groundwork of what could be a very successful tenure if he chooses to stay there. I just can't go out on that limb against Fort Sumner.
You can't. It's just a successful program
Right.
at Fort Sumner House. So.
And then, it's Magdalena's to lose. I mean, Coach Mirabal's just amazing, right? So 2A boys, we move ahead to 2A. We talked about ATC. They're the 1. The 2 is Eunice. The 3 is Tularosa. And then the 4 is Mesa Vista. I know you like Mesa Vista a lot. Do you see any upsets, or do you have chalk straight into the Final Four?
I see Texaco upsetting Tularosa in that second round.
All right.
And I'm going to go with my Pecos Panthers upsetting Eunice.
Love it. Love it. Pecos Panthers, right? Under the radar. No one talking about them. All right, what do you have in the championship then?
I have ATC Texaco.
With who winning?
They've played each other this year. 5-point win for ATC in a very hostile Texaco environment, but I got to go with ATC. They're very talented. They're stacked. I don't see them losing this.
I agree with you. Again, I know I've said it before, but they have the best player in the class in Juju. They have some pieces around them that are all used to the fire. I mean, they played some intense games last year at the pit. I think Coach Romero and company are ready. I agree with you. 3A then. This is the one where I know we're not going to agree. Do you have anything other than chalk into the Final Four?
I wouldn't sleep on the Bosque Bobcats. I would not sleep on Bosque.
I agree with you. I have Bosque. I think Bosque is they have some size and athleticism that Hot Springs doesn't. I'm going to pick that up. Bosque is in my Final Four with Robertson at the top there.
I have Robertson and Bosque as well. And then on the bottom, I have a very big matchup, Santa Fe Indian, Navajo Prep.
Okay. What do you like?
I got to go with Santa Fe Indian.
Okay.
I mean,
Why?
they've had tough battles with Robertson. They've had big games all year, even though they lost to 2A Mesa Vista. It's a 2-point loss, but you just cannot sleep on the Santa Fe Indian Braves.
All right, let's just get to what we're not going to agree on, and that's the championship. All right, I know you have Robertson, and you know I have Navajo Prep. So why Robertson over Navajo Prep?
Robertson's just a very clicked team. They work well together. They dish it out well. You have so many key scorers like Mateo Contreras, the twin brothers, Jesse Nathaniel Gonzalez. You have the big Nathan Gonzalez, big freshman. So it's a very talented team.
I love Orion King, what he does inside. He's a big guy. He's 6'3". He plays bigger than that. The lefty, Jude Thomas at guard. They have 2,000-point scoring guards. Lansing's good. The schedule they played this year, they were in the Rio Rancho tournament. They were in the Clovis tournament. They knew they were going to be good. They expected to be here. They tested themselves with a tough schedule. I think Navajo Prep's going to beat Roberts. I think Navajo Prep could win a game that gets up and down or in the half court. I think Robertson could win a game that gets up and down. I don't see them out executing Navajo Prep in the half court.
I mean, if they do meet up in the championship, it's going to be a very quick pace, back and forth game, but I just see Robertson winning. They have good shooters. They have speed. They're physical. So I just don't see nothing stopping Robertson.
I think that could be one of the best championship games of the weekend. What do you think?
It will be up there as one of the top championship games to be played.
All right, let's throw the girls' brackets back up here while we have you, and small school predictions. I think I have them around here somewhere. Who knows? Paperwork everywhere. All right, here we go. Girls 1A, Arroyo Mosquero's the 1, the 2's Cliff, the 3's Logan, and then the 4 Fort Sumner House. Do you see any upsets? Who do you have?
I just don't want you to sleep on the Melrose Buffaloes. I just don't see it. They're just they're in a tough district and
right.
Good coach. So very poised in the state tournament every year. So just don't sleep on the Melrose Buffaloes.
Yeah, Coach Lackey, I mean, you're right. I mean, they always have the pieces. They don't have a Devaney this year, so I don't know. That might be
iffy, but
right. So how far are you taking this Buffaloes team?
I want to take them Final Four.
Final Four. Okay, championship game for you in this classification.
I would love to see Logan and Roy Mosquero.
Okay, all right. Just again, this is a box score prediction, right? For me, not having seen these teams, but yeah, I got to go chalk with the number 1 seed here. The 2A girls bracket, the 1 seed's Mesa Vista, 3 is Pecos, 2 is Tatum, and then the 4 is Tularosa. Mesa Vista's probably the best point guard in the classification, that's for sure, right? They move the ball.
They do move the ball. They dish it out. They have a lot
I
of.
love the way they play.
They just have weapons everywhere.
Right.
But you cannot sleep on the Pecos Panthers, who did in fact beat Mesa Vista in the season.
Right.
But they got guards. They can shoot. They can run. They can. It's gonna be. I have those two in the championship.
So you have Mesa Vista and Pecos?
I do.
And who's winning that rematch?
Going hometown Pecos.
Love it. All right. I'm going to have to stick with Mesa Vista on that one. Finally, 3A girls. Tehachi's the number 1 seed. The 2 seed's Robertson. The 3 seed is Navajo Prep. And the 4 seed Santa Fe Indian. Any upsets there?
No, I see all straight 4 going to the final.
Okay. Championship game for me, I'm going to go Tehachi Navajo Prep, the 1 and the 3. What do you think?
I see Tohatchi making it all the way, but they're going to have a big game against Santa Fe Indian. So it's going to be
You think
close.
they'd be tired legs after that game? Because that game could get up and down, right?
It's going to get up and down. So it's depending on who has more energy and who has more legs. And in the Navajo Prep Robertson.
Are you feeling the magic at the bottom of the bracket?
I got to go with the Magic.
Okay, all right. I can respect that. All right, I just think full house, Navajo Prep, Tehachi. And I'm going to go with... Yeah, I'll stick with Tehachi. I wanted to go Navajo Prep, but I'll stick with Tehachi. What do you think? Who's your champ in this?
I mean, Tohatchi and Robertson did meet up beginning of the year, so I'm going to go with the 2 seed Cardinals.
All right, you really believe in the magic. All right, I dig it. All right, thanks. Let's throw up the 4A girls bracket. Thanks, Michael. And then Nick will join me here in a minute as we throw up this 4A girls bracket. It's the number 1 seed Kirtland Central. The number 2 is St. Pius. The 3 is Artesia, and the 4 is Gallup. Do you see anything other than chalk here?
I don't think so, Sebastian. No, I think the top 4 are pretty set. Yeah, the only thing that would concern me maybe Artesia's Road. We've only seen them once. They would likely meet Academy in the quarterfinals. We shouted out Coach Batch's Chargers having an excellent season. They're pretty balanced. Addie Spratley, Lily Skarsgård, Nalini Montoya. But I think, yeah, it's probably going to be the top 4.
And then championship?
I got Kirtland Central and St. Pius. I think St. Pius has enough to beat the 3 in Artesia, and it's interesting. We're gonna see potentially a Kirtland Central Gallup semifinal. So I think St. Pius and Kirtland in the championship.
All right, what do you? Does Pius have enough? Can they keep up offensively? Because if Kirtland Central gets going, right?
It's a depth concern, Sebastian.
That's still a pretty young team too, isn't it?
They are, yeah. Catalina Anaya is a junior. Macy Fries is a junior. My concern, Sebastian, they graduated Reagan Morris and Marisol Valdez from last year's team. They only go about 6 deep, 7 in a pinch. Kirtland Central, as you know, they run a platoon. It's like 10 to 12 girls deep. So I think if St. Pius can stay out of foul trouble, stay healthy, they can make it a game. They played earlier in the season. It was an 80-50 win for Kirtland Central, but it's tough. I think Pius could do it, but my official pick would be Kirtland Central.
I think the only thing that could derail Kirtland Central is if that game against Gallup takes so much out of them, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. But they've done that. They've played 4 times this year against Gallup, beaten them 3 times. It's been close the last 2, but I think it's going to be Kirtland.
5A girls here. Nick, just stay up right here. I don't see Ed around, so we'll keep you up here for 5A girls. All right, we talked heavily during this bracket about what we thought Hobbs was the favorite. Sandia certainly has 3 very good players, in Sydney Benali, and Hope Giddings, and Audrey Wright. Do you see upsets in this bracket anywhere?
I don't think so. We would have El Dorado, Sandia in the quarters. Bella's played well against them, but like you said, I think Sandia's too deep. I want to see that Farmington-Sandia semifinal. They played last night in the district tournament championship. Sandia's beaten them, I think, 3 times this year. But I think it's deep in the top 4, Sebastian. I mean, look, La Cueva beat Hobbs earlier this year in the APS Metro tournament. I think it's a different La Cueva team now. They're not quite trending in the right direction. I think it's going to be Volcano Vista Hobbs in the top semi, and I think it's going to be Sandia Farmington. And I think we're probably going to see a Sandia Hobbs championship.
It's a crazy kind of road to the championship for the number 1 seed Hobbs. They could get La Cueva in the second round, a team they have history with. Remember those ejections on the pit floor. Yeah. They get past that. Maybe they get Volcano Vista, a team they played in the championship a dozen times.
Yep.
just to make it to the championship game. But I see them doing that. I see them going all the way through, no problem there. At the bottom, I agree with you. I think Sandia is just a little too deep for El Dorado, although they're playing really special. They're playing really well right now, and Bella's good enough to beat a team, right? And I think it would be fantastic for the state of New Mexico to see Bella at the pit. I just don't think they're deep enough, so I agree, Sandia. If we get to a Hobbs and Sandia championship, look, Coach Carpenter pulled me aside last year, and he could have been mean to me. He could have said, "You idiots, you guys were the only one seed that didn't get picked on your show last year was me." But he didn't do that. He invited me out for dinner after his championship game, and I got to know the man a little bit, actually for hours.
Yeah.
And he says, "Sebastian, it's not about X's and O's."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, you have to have good players, and there's some X's and O's." He said, "But I know with my team, I have 12 girls that I can put my arm around and say, hey, I need you to get 1 rebound, 1 steal, make 1 play. And I know any girl on my team will go do that out on the pit floor." And I learned a lot about Coach Carpenter and the way he thinks and his program and the way he runs things. And he is a great X's and O's, guys. Don't let him sandbag you. He knows X's and O's, right? But he taught me a lot getting to know him. I just don't think Sandia can beat this team. Hobbs is too deep. They play so many players that race in space. Everyone can contribute. They move the ball better than they have the last 4 years, in my opinion. Do you think Sandia could beat them?
I don't think so, Sebastian. For all the reasons that you suggested, Hobbs just too deep. They're balanced on the offensive end of the floor. We mentioned it. Cunningham, Brett Clay, they pace them. I think it's Hobbs.
So I apologize to my friends in Hobbs. I know they wanted us to go the other way again. They wanted us to slight them again, so they would have those talking points, right? But you just can't pick against this version of the Hobbs Eagles. Hey, tonight was a lot of fun. We apologize for the Twitter delay or the Twitter technical difficulties, but I will get on Twitter and retweet all of those watch parties after tonight. I want to thank everyone that came in tonight. Thank Michael. I want to thank Ed. We had a special guest, the head coach of the Cibola Cougars, Gabe Martinez. Nick, thank you. And of course, Alden, our director, Josh Luna, helping us out here as well. And we are officially ready for the most exciting 2 weeks at ProView Networks. It's coming up.
It's like our Christmas. Can't wait.
That's right. The present we're unwrapping is the state tournament. It's right around the corner. One special thanks again to Southwest Style Inc. for being the official sponsor of 2024 Bracket Breakdown. Blue trophies to be awarded soon. We'll see you all at the pit. Hey, welcome into the 2024 Bracket Breakdown Show. It's brought to you by Southwest Style Incorporated. I'm Sebastian Noel. That's Michael Montano. That's the head coach of the Cibola Cougars. He got that dreadful call this year to join us. Hopefully, Gabe, we never have to call you again.
No, yeah. Listen, I would much rather prefer to be getting ready for it, but it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Excited. Thanks for having me.
First things first, congratulations to your son's all-district accomplishments, both on the all-district team and the all-academic team. He sure is fun to watch.
Appreciate that.
I know you guys are building it up over there, and it's coming, right? That's a tough district to rebuild a program in, isn't it?
Brick by brick, step by step, but yeah, little by little.
All right, we'll get to brackets in just a moment. Let's look at the seeding and selection criteria. It hasn't changed, but we do always like to go over it because there's no secrets. Finish in regular season district play, head-to-head, wins against district champions regardless of classification, overall record, Max Preps Freeman ranking, member school input, which is essentially the final coaches poll of the year that's submitted to the NMAA. And I want to talk about 2 of those. One of them is that last one, that member school input. That one's weird because I'll just ask you, what do you do? Do you put in a classic quote-unquote coaches poll, or do you try to guess the criteria? Because the more coaches I talk to, it's split. Some coaches try to go by this criteria, while other coaches put in a real coaches poll, what they think, like the coaches poll we see all year on NMOTSC. What do you do?
For me, it's a mixture of both. I mean, we sit down, we talk with other coaches, we look at all the criteria, and then we just kind of gauge it, maybe like you said, how we kind of feel. I think that's why they have the coaches' input. It gives us an opportunity to go in there and kind of see how we see things. Maybe it lines up with the criteria or how things are on max preps, but for me, it's a mixture of both.
And there's real no guidance, Michael, on that coaches, that last input form there. There's no guidance on the website. It's just blank spots for 1 through 16.
Yeah.
So some coaches do the traditional coaches poll. Some coaches try to go by the NMA criteria. So that's it's kind of a crapshoot what you get.
It really is, because you see these teams like where they're ranked all year on max preps, and then you see what the number 1 seeds are and how they do this input, and then you find out like, well, how come we're now number 1 based on where we've been ranked all year? So teams aren't going to get the seed what they think they'll get.
Speaking of how come we're not number 1, we do want to talk about a 1A 1 seed that was already released, Magdalena. We'll get to that in just a moment. That other criteria point, of course, that always kind of gets people talking is the district wins, right? District champion wins, because it doesn't have to be in your classification. So I know that's always a hot button issue with you guys in the coaching community, right?
It is. No, I think that's always been a question, that coaches have as far as, is there going to be any regulations or there's going to be any changes to how that works? But I mean, it is what it is. Like,
should a 5A team be rewarded for a district champ win against, say, a silver, right? That's been an argument in the past. Also, one more thing I wanted to clarify as we looked at that criteria, and it did come into play this year in the West Mesa La Cueva tie. When that tie does occur, the tiebreaker game that happened on Monday, it determines the seeding for the district tournament. So West Mesa went in as the host for the championship on Saturday. What it also does, though, and I did get some clarification on this, what it also does, and this part gets real gray, it also determines who the district champ is, but only for the criteria point of wins against the district champ. And I know that sounds confusing. What do I mean by that? Well, it means La Cueva can go ahead of West Mesa into the bracket. They will, of course, because of their win, but they could have anyway, even if they lost. But the district champion is considered West Mesa. Only teams that beat West Mesa get credit for a district champ win. So that's kind of a weird little thing. And in a way, that really hurt West Mesa, because La Cueva suddenly gets credit for their 2, now 3 wins against West Mesa. West Mesa, in turn, did not get credit for their wins against La Cueva. They would have had to beat La Cueva again on Saturday just to make it count, if you will, and that head-to-head criteria would have canceled out the other criteria. But, of course, that didn't happen on Saturday. We don't have to worry about that. But that's just, I wanted to clarify that because I know there's a lot of discussion about that. Does that make sense? It didn't make a lot of sense while I was saying it.
It sounds confusing at first, but then you process it does make sense, because you have to have these wins against district champions regardless of what happens.
Were you following all that, Coach?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've kind of had to deal with it in the past and understand it. So basically, if you outright win your district without a tie, no one else in your district can be seated above you. If there's a tie break and it leads into the next week, and then you have that game, as you just said, it only counts for wins against district champs. But then if you're ever in a tiebreaker game, whoever wins that game, it doesn't guarantee that someone in your district can't be seated above you.
Right, you're absolutely right about that.
Did I break that down correct?
Yeah, that makes sense. Did want to mention the one seed you were a little surprised about, Michael, and that was Magdalena, right?
I was surprised, because all year on max preps they were ranked 4th, 5th. They were not near that 1, and to see them number 1, it did surprise me, because I was not expecting that at all.
Season watch parties, you can tweet them to us at ProView TV. I see the Santa Fe High Demons. They're at a restaurant somewhere watching.